Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be playing a game called You and Him. This is got this huge content warning at the very beginning. So it contains sexual content, eye strains, slight torture, graphic violence, mild screen shakes, and death. It is intended for 18 plus audiences only. Alright, so let's get going. You, middle of nowhere, 3:32 p.m. In other news, the hit boy band Cake will be playing live tomorrow night at the Santina Valley Stadium in Park Bend, Arizona. According to our sources, concert tickets sold out within seconds of their initial online release date, despite the fact that massive influx of these users caused the website itself to crash. Luckily, they managed to get the site up and running again, but many people were upset since they were forced to log back in, and many missed out on buying tickets because of this. Thousands took to Twilighter to vent their frustrations, while others made light of the situation by making and sharing memes. Many of these posts went viral and got Santina Valley Stadium trending for 3 days straight on Twitter itself. Okay. The DJ lets out a huff breath. I can't believe what I'm seeing in these posts. Can you, Kenny? The car radio crackles and a new voice joins in on the conversation, some coming across as both as jovial and borderline cartoonish. Not in the slightest. I'm just as stunned as you are. It's fascinating to see these young men who started from modest backgrounds rise to take the world by storm. I don't think I've seen a boy band craze this bad since the 90s and early 2010s, but I don't think these even compare to what we're seeing today. Don't you agree, Bob? Bob, the first radio DJ who spoke, lets out a giant guffaw. Oh boy, that is an understatement. Even my husband adores their ladies' signal, the way you make me sway, which is saying something. I thought your husband hated modern day music. My point exactly. If they can make my husband love their sound, then you know they've got that something special that old men like him and I can't even ignore. When they start playing Cake's latest single, you turn down the dial on the radio, choosing instead to focus on the long stretch of road before you. The blistering heat already makes it hard to concentrate, and you don't need the added distraction. Especially consider you've driven almost 323 miles thanks to your aunt's pleas to gather up all your uncle's valuables and drop them off at his new apartment in the next 6 towns over, and are now on the return drive home, sans guns. I tried turning her down, but your mom called and forced you to agree. Something about being a good relative and mentioning of past actions where your aunt almost didn't treat you like dirt and yada yada yada. At that point, you just wanted to hang up and go back to your hermit crab lifestyle. So you agreed and took an obscene amount of guns from your aunt to give to your uncle. Due to their terms and conditions of the divorce, the judge ruled that since your aunt got ownership of the house, your aunt needed to fork over her collection of guns and hand them over to your uncle. Getting the aforementioned guns out of her house was a nightmare. The woman kept screaming every time you loaded the guns into your car. You had to restrain her while she kept trying to lunge for your trunk, saying he wouldn't know what if one or two were missing. When you refused to budge on the matter, she became inconsolable and ran inside the house, shutting herself in the bathroom for a solid 20 minutes before you needed to leave. When she returned, her demeanor returned to normal. Well, at least for her. Relatives are weird, man. Speaking of weird, how long was this stretch of road again? You could have sworn it was a heck of a lot shorter the first go-round. Ugh, not to mention, you need to pee. You regret not stopping by the gas station 50 miles back, actively choosing to ignore the huge warning sign that says next gas station in 100 miles. A terrible decision considering the current state of your bladder. You mull over your lack of options when something in the distance catches your attention. As your car eats up the distance between you, you make the shape of a large, lumbering figure walking along the side of the road with their thumb jutting out and raised over their head. Huh. What's a hitchhiker doing all the way out here? Your bladder quakes. Never mind, you don't have time for this. Not to mention the fact that your mother always warned you about shady hitchhikers. Letting this man into your car reeks of future trouble. Best to avoid a situation like that altogether. When you pull right up behind him, you notice the distinct limp to his walk and blood blooming out from his pant leg. Seeing his injury causes guilt to settle in. He's clearly hurt and needs help, and no one else is around to help but you. You wrestle with your options when he suddenly collapses into a heap on the side of the road. Shit. There goes your self-preservation. You park just a ways ahead of him and launch out of the driver's seat, praying to God that you don't believe in that he's okay. When you reach him, you fall to your knees and gently nudge his shoulder, only to garner no response. Come on, please be okay. You lean down and press your head against his chest. You feel it rise and fall on the faint sound of a heartbeat. Good, he's still breathing. You sit back up and try to gently shake his shoulder again. Sir, can you hear me? He's also conscious, another good sign. Don't worry, sir, I'm going to call for help, okay? You pull out your cell phone ready to dial the emergency helpline when a hand latches onto your wrist in a vice-like grip and the man beneath you adjusts himself into a sitting position. You're taken aback by the man's fierce gaze glaring at you through a veil of raven-colored hair. Don't call anyone. I'm fine. Yes, but... Nails dig into your forearm, not enough to draw blood, but enough to warn you that he means business. I said I'm fine. Let's listen to the sexy man. You lower your phone, exiting out of the phone app without a second glance at the screen. Alright, but at least let me take a look at your leg. He visibly relaxes at your compliant nature and nods, leaning back so you can roll up his pant leg and examine the damage lying underneath. Blood coats the wound on his leg. You can't even see the extent of it or the injury when there's so much. You need to clean it off. Wait right here. You head for your car and locate the box cutter knife hidden underneath your driver's seat. Cutting off the bottom half of your shirt, you grab the once cold but now warm water bottle you brought with you for your mini road trip and use it to soak up a straight piece of fabric. You toss your box cutter back onto the driver's seat before returning to the hitchhiker. The hitchhiker looks up upon hearing your approaching footsteps. You watch as his eyes widen into the equivalent of large saucers, his lips slightly parted in surprise as his gaze zeroes in on the new patch of exposed skin. He studies the shape of your body, tracing over each and every part of you with new eyes. You go flustered at the attention, but you also don't hate it. It's nice in a way. You're a little disappointed when he averts his gaze, wondering if you misinterpreted the situation, until he bites at his bottom lip as if he's done something naughty. Your heart flutters at the implications. His reaction's kinda cute. You lower yourself to his level and try to ignore the blush spreading across your own cheeks. He's really attractive, a fact that you couldn't help but notice when you rushed to his side and saw that intense expression like an arrow striking through your helpless little heart. But that's not the only thing that garnered your attention. This hitchhiker is Adam, the lead singer of Cake. What's he doing all the way out here in the middle of nowhere? So I couldn't help but notice this. You're Adam, right? The hitchhiker hesitates before nodding. Okay, so I don't mean to sound rude, but what are you doing all the way out here asking strangers for rides? . Adam runs the back of his head, almost sheepish in his answer. I accidentally drove my car into a ditch a few miles back, and I forgot my phone at the studio, so I couldn't really reach out and call anyone. Figured on the off chance that someone drove by, I could bum a ride. He smiles on. Guess I got lucky you showed up when you did. You're a lifesaver. You're almost blinded by that smile. No wonder his fangirls go crazy. Urging your pounding heart to calm down, you try concentrating on the conversation at hand and get started on cleaning his leg. You need to focus. Oh, was the crash how you got hurt? Adam shakes his head. Cut my thigh open while hiking with my friends a couple of weeks ago. One of the tree branches was a little too sharp and gave me this souvenir. The doctor stitched me up, but I guess it tore back open since I started walking. He chuckles to himself. I didn't even notice, if you can believe it. You're surprised to hear this, considering he's got a performance going on later tomorrow night. Surely he should let it heal before going back on stage. Well, hopefully when I drive you back to town, you can get to a doctor to get it taken care of. I'm sorry I can't do anything else in the meantime. Don't worry, you've been a big help. You flush at his praise, the smoothness of his voice, and the way he says that makes you feel things you haven't felt in a long time, in places you haven't felt in a long time. You attempt to focus on the task at hand, wiping away the thick, congealed blood, but it's hard to concentrate when all you can think about is the fact that your hands are near his thighs and... Oh gosh, you're turning beet red from the thought alone. Nibbling at your bottom lip, you peer up at him and find his gaze locked onto your hands with a blistering intensity. You can't tell if he wants you to rip your hands off his legs or guide them towards more intimate places. The heat warming your body desires the latter. Something wrong? His gaze suddenly flicks upward, and you jump, flustered that he's caught you staring. Nothing, just a little dazed is all, probably just because of the heat. You duck your head and redirect your attention downward, ignoring the horny little devil inside you. Since you're back on track, you didn't notice this before, but the blood on his leg is a bit weird. It chips and peels away like dry paint instead of smearing. What the? The man withdraws a small silver knife tucked into the waistband of his jeans and lunges at you. You don't even have a spare moment to react before he drives a weapon into your chest. Confusion and terror battle in your mind. Adrenaline pumps through your veins as you try to fight him off. You scratch at his chest, face, anywhere you can dig your nails in, but he scoffs and pins your arms down with his knees. You watch in horror as he plunges the knife into your exposed chest again and again. Well, you don't even have time to ask why as the world goes dark. Well, too promiscuous. Okay, well, that was bad ending 1. Not even sure what to say about that. Did not expect it. Was kind of like, bam, now you're dead. The endings does this have? Bear with me just for a second, guys. So it's supposed to have about 2 hours for a full playthrough. And this is the demo version that I'm playing, which is just supposed to be chapters 1 and 2. It doesn't say how many endings there's supposed to be. Huh. Hmm. Well, I'm actually going to call this because I don't know if I really want to play again. On the other hand, I am also curious. So, should we try again? Let's try again. I'm going to skip. Let's skip to this one. We'll try call anyway. He's insane if he thinks you're just going to let this whole thing slide. He's clearly injured and definitely needs a dressing for that wound on his leg. You yank your arm out of his grasp and press the phone to your ear before standing up, turning your back to the man as you glare at the sun beating down at it. Could it be any hotter? The operator picks up. Hello, what's your... She's cut off mid-sentence when the hitchhiker plucks the phone out of your hand and drops it to the ground. He crushes the device underneath a scuffed boot and hands in his pockets, looking almost bored as he does. Once he's done destroying the phone you worked 3 years in customer service to pay off, he runs a hand through his hair and reveals an all too familiar smile. You recognize those features that span across multiple blogs on the internet stratosphere, from his gleaming white teeth, which were perfectly advertising for the 10 toothpaste commercials he sponsors, to a scar on his eyebrow that fangirls obsess over. The lead singer of Cake, Adam. You open your mouth to comment, wondering how a man like him ended up here, when he rushes forward and plunges something into your shoulder. You're caught off guard, his momentum pushing you backwards, and your head cracks painfully against the asphalt. The man stands over you for a moment as he wipes the blood off his knife, using his shirt as a makeshift handkerchief. He smiles cruelly as he crawls over your collapsed body with a predatory gleam in his eye, thighs boxing in your hips, trapping you underneath him as his hand pins your wrists over your head. You watch him reach into his back pocket to reveal a phone of his own and tap something on his screen. All of a sudden, you're blinded by light. You try blinking the stars out of your eyes, confused by what just occurred. Shoot, I left the flash on. Sorry about that. This son of a bitch. You kick your legs and buck your hips in a valiant effort to toss him off your body, throwing your weight around in hopes that you'll catch him off balance. But he doesn't seem fazed in the slightest. You give up after exhausting yourself. Damn it all. Once you've settled, Adam taps his phone screen again, and this time there's no blinding light. He stares at the picture he just took for a moment, nods to himself, and shoves his phone into his back pocket, satisfied by whatever he sees. You've got a pretty photogenic face. The picture will print out great, don't you think? You try spitting in his face, but you miss by a landslide. Aw, that wasn't very nice. Nice one out the window when you stabbed me. Maybe I wouldn't have stabbed you if you listened to me and hung up the phone. Yeah, right. Well, we know that's not true already. You get the distinct feeling that he's lying through his teeth. You don't peg him as the honest type, considering he probably just got a bunch of skeletons in his closet if he's tacking strangers on for shits and giggles. What do you want my photo for? Scrapbooking? His face darkens at your retort. How is that any of your business? Surely he's joking. You look at his tense expression. Nope, he's 100% serious, but at least he's not cutting you open like a slab of meat. If you can get him talking, maybe you'll find a way out of this mess. A Christmas present for your dear old mom and dad, then? Don't talk about my mother. Oh, does he have mommy issues? No, maybe he has daddy issues. Better yet, maybe both. What about your dad? Can we talk about him? Adam considers you for a moment, obviously confused by your cavalier attitude despite the current situation. but he's curious enough to see where this leads. What do you know about him? Does he snore like a boar? Did he play catch with you as a kid? Does he barbecue and watch football on Sundays? Does he make corny dad jokes? What does he do for a living? To answer your questions in order, no, yes, no. And he's a preacher for my hometown church back in Tennessee. Huh, a fan of the big guy in the sky, huh? I'm guessing you went to church a lot as a kid? Adam considers you for a moment. Ah, so that's your angle. I'm sorry. You gasp as his nails dig into your wounded shoulder. Tears prick at the corner of your eye, threatening to spill over, and you have to bite your lip to keep them in place. No way will let this man get the self-satisfaction of seeing you cry. You want to keep me talking until you can think of a way to escape plan, is that it? Well, I'm sorry to inform you, but that won't happen. We're alone, I'm armed with a knife, and this highway is almost always deserted. Very few cars drive along this highway, and the only reason people tend to travel here is for nefarious means or out of sheer desperation. But it's almost always the latter. I would know. I scoped this place out ahead of time. He gives you a sadistic grin. But you know what? Why not? I'll play this game for a little while longer. It could be fun after all, giving you that small sliver of hope that someone might pass by and rescue you from your fate. Speaking of fate, let's talk about something related to that. Destiny itself. Don't worry, I promise this all circles back to my father. Now, let's see. He pauses for a moment to gather his thoughts before he begins talking again. My dad. You know, it's funny. Despite being religious and believing in the power of free will, my father also thinks that destiny plays a big role in our everyday lives. He always says that, well, some things are in our control, other things are milestones made by God to teach us pivotal life lessons planned far in advance. A test of sorts, you could say. He digs his nails deeper into your wound. You bite your lip so hard it bleeds. Tell me something. Do you believe in destiny? Let's be honest with him. We're already this far in. Mom always said honesty was the best policy, no matter the circumstances. Sure, it might get you killed here, but he's probably already planning to do that anyway. No. You admit through clenched teeth. Especially when people like you exist. What sick, mystical bullshit would send me to someone like you in a test? He stares down at you for a moment, dissecting you with his eyes. You feel like one of those dead frogs they used in biology class to teach teenagers how bodies work and function, with your limbs all splayed out and pinned at your sides, ripe with organ harvesting. You wait for him to slice you wide open in response to giving him the wrong answer, but to your surprise, he doesn't. Funny, I thought you'd try to lie and appease me. Typically when I ask someone a question after they find out their lives are on the line, they try and fit their answer to one they think I'd like. I, however, find honesty to be one of the most honorable traits a person can have. In fact, I'd prefer your honesty, even if our views differ. So you believe in destiny? Why does that not surprise me? Oh, I don't. I was just curious to see how you answer. You wanted to get to know me after all, and if it was just to buy time, I figure I'd still extend the same courtesy. Normally, I don't let my guard down and talk about my father like this. Aren't you happy? This shows how special you are to me. Wow, narcissistic much? Oh, I bet you say that to all your victims. His eyes narrow at your sarcasm, but you continue on because you can't stop yourself. I truly am the luckiest person alive. I don't deserve you or your kindness. You really aren't like the other serial killers. He reclaims his knife and buries it deep into your shoulder, effectively cutting you off. When he withdraws the blade, he examines the fresh blood coating the knife and frowns. I appreciate honesty to extent, but you are far better if you keep your mouth shut. Make me. A childish retort in the grand scheme of things. But you'll be damned if he's getting the last word in edgewise. You watch as he angles the blade, lifting it high overhead before bringing it towards your sternum with the most cold-blooded expression. You have to think quick and throw him off his guard to ensure your survival. Let's get ready to die again, folks. You grit your teeth through the pain, but it's the first thing that comes to mind. Before he can react, you grab him by the scruff of his shirt and pull him down. Caught off balance, he drops the knife and braces his hands on the ground, unable to avoid your awaiting mouth. His dark eyes go comically wide as your lips touch. He goes still for a total of 2 seconds, which doesn't give you enough time to grab his knife and aim for the jugular. You expect him to shove you away, to scrub his mouth clean of you, or drive his knife down in disgust. What you don't expect is for him to return your kiss with a desperate urgency. Did not expect that. Did not. He's a man who's sought thrill from murder, but from the looks of it, he hasn't experienced much, if any, intimate interaction. You found an undeniable weakness. He's so distracted, eyelids flutter shut in pure, unabashed pleasure, that you take the opportunity to use your other hand to search for his knife. Your hands swipe over dirt and rocks and asphalt until your hand manages to land on the hilt of the blade. You make sure you have a firm grasp, and you lodge the knife deep into his side. He cries out, rolling off your body, clearly not understanding what just happened. Free of his weight, you take the golden opportunity to sprint towards your car. He calls after you, but you don't look back. Hopping into the driver's seat, you rev your engine and floor it, pressing the pedal to the metal. You see him limping after you in the rearview mirror, and watch as he grows smaller before disappearing completely. Adrenaline pumps through your veins, heart struggling against your ribcage. For hours, you drive back to your town. You check your rearview mirror to see if somehow he managed to teleport into your back seat, afraid he'll finish the job. I'm okay now, you say when you see your hometown on the horizon. I'm okay. Elsewhere, 9:30 p.m. Adam manages to return to his hotel room without much trouble after calling in a few favors. He's lucky you didn't hit anything vital, just a flesh wound that he managed to stitch together himself. The action of pushing a needle through the skin like second nature, thanks to practicing on previous victims. He lies back on the king-size mattress, spent from walking under the crisp sun and getting hurt to boot. The sheets feel cool and oddly ticklish beneath him. Everything feels ticklish since that kiss from hours earlier, like his nerve endings are standing on end, hypersensitive to everything he touches. He absentmindedly strokes his own bottom lip. He can still taste you. The shape of your body pressed against his and the way you move under him ingrained into his memory, a permanent stamp on his consciousness. He wants to see you again, to touch you, to kiss you, to claim you, to mark you. Unwarranted images of you invade his mind, graphic depictions of your bodies intertwined, fueling his lust and causing his hand to dip down in response. He slowly unbuttons his jeans, unable to take much more of this corrosive heat, needing to get you out of his system when a woman's face flashes behind his eyelids. She stares at him in disappointment, tears cascading down her cheeks and over her cuts and scars. She shakes her head. Just like him, she mouths. Adam gasps and rips his hand away, tears pricking at the corners of his eyes in frustrations. I'm sorry. Your face flashes behind his eyelids, the sun illuminating your frame like an angel descending from heaven. Stop it. You pull him down again. You kiss him. Enough. He chokes out a sob and curls into the fetal position, wishing he could plead you out of his pores and untaint himself. But you left your mark. If he wants to be rid of his fever, this disease burning within him, he needs to find the source and destroy it. Adam calms himself by taking a deep breath and letting a plan formulate in his mind. As long as he focuses on the future task at hand, he can handle this odd feeling overwhelming him and carry out what he needs to do. When he opens his eyes, they shine with a determined light, and he promises himself he'll find you again. "1:43 a.m. Adam only requires a cheap lock-picking kit bought off of Amazon to break into your apartment. A weak defense. Did you really think this would keep him out? It's almost too easy the way he steps inside, pausing next to your coat rack to allow his eyes time to adjust to the darkness. He scans the room, observing the dark shape of your ratty couch and cheap coffee table that spills with fabric. He wonders briefly if you started in on a new sewing project of sorts when his eyes catch something far more interesting. A door left ajar that he can only assume is your bedroom. He slips out of his boots and places them next to yours. It's almost like he's your husband returning from work and ready to join his spouse in bed. It's almost too intimate in a way, and he really doesn't like the feeling it gives him. But he needs to stay quiet, and wearing large, chunky boots would reveal his presence. He wants to surprise you, to catch you off guard. Like how you managed to catch him off guard with that kiss on the highway. He'll never forgive you for it. Only the thrill of the hunt managed to subdue any inappropriate thoughts that might overwhelm him. He doesn't want to feel this way, you know. He doesn't like the fact that anyone can wield this sort of power over him, because it can easily turn into a weapon, which makes him vulnerable. Not only that, but the inherent wrongness itches at his skin. You're a forbidden fruit that tricked him into taking a bite. He wants to laugh at how his name suits him now. Did his father think that he'd give in to his desire? Did he believe he'd grow up and become just like him? Do what's right. A broken woman whispers from the darkness. Don't go down his path. Her words encourage his already determined footsteps. I protected you from him. She steals his resolve. He's going to kill the one who tainted him and become pure again. Adam positions himself in front of the door, wondering what awaits him. Are you planning something, or are you really naive enough to think that you'd be safe after escaping the first time? Surely you're prepared for me, aren't you? His voice carries into the bedroom, but garners no response. Do you have a gun aimed at my head, a bat next to your nightstand, or did you call the cops? Again, no answer. Now's your chance. Kill me before I kill you. Adam's taunting you. Probably because you taunted him in his dreams for so long. Still, you don't give in to his game. He grows frustrated and tired of waiting. It's now or never. Adam draws out a knife tucked into his waistband of his jeans. Your blood from the other day still coats the silver blade, the color transformed into a deep reddish brown because he can't bring himself to wash it until he uses it to take your life. The single action, the taking of your life with this blade, will bring everything full circle. At least, last he'll be free. Adam noticed a small bed tucked into a corner of the bedroom. The window blinds are lifted, allowing a small amount of moonlight to spill into the room and illuminate the mass of blankets where you potentially rest. They shift, signaling someone indeed lies underneath them. Adam approaches the bed and without hesitation rips the blankets off your body and onto the floor. You startle awake, your eyes lashing onto him, dazed and confused by the sudden shift in realities. You were dreaming one moment, and now you're drug kicking and screaming into the waking world. How did you know he was on his way? You really are naive. He thought you were smarter than this, and he's insulted that you managed to escape him. How could someone like this? The words escape him when he sees you, skin glowing from the moonlight, caught off guard by you yet again. He keeps his eyes on your face, afraid to wander anywhere else. You sit up and allow what remains of your blanket to spill around your waist. Adam jerks back with a start, dropping his knife that clatters to the ground with a metallic clang. Before he can move out of reach, you grab his wrist and tug him forward. Then you pull him down and drown him in the blood red of your lust. In the middle of your heated exchange, you stare down at him, a deity perched over their royal throne. He shudders under your gaze, vulnerable and slick with sweat. He's breathless as he asks, "Why did you stop?" "Because I'm curious." Your body shifts and he grits his teeth, holding back a soft whimper. his hands going to your hips as if holding you around him. A smirk tugs at the corners of your lips. Do you like this? Do you like what I'm doing to you? Adam nods. Yes. God, yes. He's never felt so good in his fucking life. Adam swallows thickly, eyelashes fluttering, unable to concentrate but forcing himself to pay attention to your next words. Do you want me? Adam answers before he can even think about what he's saying. Yes. How much do you want me? More than fucking anything. One last question. Finally. Do you still want to kill me? Adam stares up at you. Yes. Yes, of course he does. Killing you means he's done his job and can sleep peacefully at night knowing you'll no longer hurt the people around you. He opens his mouth, then closes it. Yes. Just say yes. He tries again and fails miserably. You continue staring at him, patient, while you wait for his answer, your body still hovering over his. Maybe he just doesn't want you to stop. Is that it? Like he's afraid you'll stop making him feel good? Forgiving was obviously the wrong answer. But no, that's not it either. As soon as you touch him, the burning still exists within him. That's a fact. It always will. But the burning's transformed into something else. Something that ignites whenever you touch his skin. The mattress begins sinking inward under Adam's weight. He doesn't even have a moment to process what's happening before the bed swallows him whole. Adam finds himself suffocating in darkness. He tries clawing around him, but his body remains immobile. Then he's falling, and all of a sudden he hits solid ground. When he manages to pick himself up, he finds himself stuck in the middle of the kitchen, and he's dressed in his old Sunday best. He studies the room. From the aging rose wallpaper to the collection of colorful magnets used to pin up child drawings on the fridge, Adam knows exactly where he stands. A soft dripping sound catches his attention. His eyes drift over the source, off to the left where a small square kitchen table with 3 wooden chairs rest. Each chair is given a hand-stitched cushion to soften the otherwise uncomfortable sitting arrangement. A white tablecloth covers the table with the exception of a scarlet-red drop splashed here and there. A yellow piece of parchment paper rests in the center. Frantic black lettering bleeds through the paper as if the author was running out of time and scribbled down what they could. Adam reels back in horror at the sight. Not this. Anything but this. Red drips onto the paper from above, but he doesn't dare look up. The fresh scent of copper floods his sense. He knows the smell by heart. Normally he'd thrive off the smell, but this... His legs give out and he digs into his palms into his eyes so hard that he starts to see stars in the darkness. He can't look up. He refuses to see it a second time. Someone hums next to his ear. He flinches away, still refusing to drop his hands, but the person persists. Don't you want to face me? When he refuses the answer, the humming switches to his other ear, and then the singer asks a second question. Can't you even look to see how deeply you've hurt me? Clawed fingers try dragging his hands away from his eyes. They're sharp and painful, and they manage to finally look up at the face of what he's been dreading. A cold, dead corpse stares at him with bloodshot eyes, the whites glazed over by a grayish film. The corpse, cocks her head at a 90-degree angle. The movement causes her crumpled, wet hair to trickle in Adam's face. He whispers her name. This single action enrages her and causes her lips to peel back into a shriek that shatters the windows and makes the chairs rattle and topple over. Don't call me that. Don't ever call me that again. You betrayed me. You promised me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. Look at what he did to me. Look what they did to me. Look. Tears stream down Adam's cheeks as he jerks his face closer to her bruised one. Purple and yellow spots dapple the base of her jaw and trail down the slope of her neck, disappearing under the collar of her gray dress gown she wears. I'm sorry. He is dragged to his feet by the woman with her hands clamped around his throat. She tightens her grip, and he remains limp, knowing this is the punishment he deserves for betraying her like this, for betraying his promise and her memory. She snaps his neck with a stinging twist. Current day. Door Hotel, 5:01 a.m. Adam catapults out of his nightmare, trembling as his eyes dart around the room. The shadows are his demons waiting to devour him. They hide behind the TV screen, under the bed, and in his closet. He can't escape them no matter how hard he tries. Shit. Just a dream. He needs to calm down. Adam tries thinking about his hunts. The thrill of carving into the flesh, of ripping through the bone, the sinew, and watching his pathetic life fades by his hand. And then that corpse's face flashes behind his eyelids, and he can't calm down. Then you appear. A deep, seething anger rises within him. He grabs a hold of it. Anger is better than fear. So he directs all of his attention towards you. Whatever this feeling is, it's all your fault. These weird sexual fantasies won't go away until you're gone and removed from his life. He needs to get to you. Now. But there's only one problem. After Adam got back to his hotel, he called Saffron and informed him of his situation. Saffron, in typical fashion, took the ordeal in stride and offered to keep an eye out for you. He spent hours outside of your apartment waiting to see if your car would show up. It never did. Park Bend, Arizona, 8 a.m. A bloody mess of gauze and medical tape you brought at the nearest convenience store clog up the bathroom trash can, covering up the used pregnancy test and sanitary napkins. Dark smudges circle your eyes from lack of proper sleep. A little fact that your aunt would curl her lip at, wondering why you can't get your act together. Always a supportive woman, that one. If she'd taken the guns herself, maybe you'd be off worrying about your next online show and figuring out how to earn a bigger tip rather than avoiding your house like it's got infested with cockroaches. But make it your singular cockroach with a knife. You stare at yourself in the bathroom mirror, fighting exhaustion tooth and nail, gripping the edges of the sink to remain upright. A feat in and of itself. Your shoulder, while taken care of for the time being, likely requires stitches instead of medical equipment flex tape. But who the fuck can afford medical insurance in this day and age? Not you, that's who. Damn it all to hell. After circling Park Bend for half an hour and weighing your options between returning home or sleeping in your car, you decide on the latter as a safer bet. You don't really want to risk it for the biscuit by returning home, considering there's a possibility Adam might know your address. The attack itself could have been a one-off incident for a thirsty serial killer hell-bent on getting some kind of action. But if that's the case, why did he take a picture for? Maybe you're overthinking this. After all, he could be saving them for himself as a sort of memento of the occasion. You really can't be sure. Sigh. Maybe it would have been better if... No. You splash yourself with water stained with a questionable color in order to perk yourself up. Chin up, chest puffed. That's what your best friend Jay used to say before he moved out of state to pursue his dream in the medical field. You plan on taking his advice to heart until you exit the bathroom and meet the gaze of a kid who stares at you with wide-set eyes. He's in the middle of picking his nose and wiping it on his mom's sleeve. He never breaks eye contact. Upon seeing your grossed out expression, he cackles like a hyena. Yep, he's gonna grow up to be a serial killer. You bet Adam did the same thing at that age. You'd put money on it even. The doorbell jingles as you step out of the air-conditioned gas station and onto the curb. A sudden wave of vertigo hits you, and you finally lose your ongoing battle with gravity. An arm sweeps out to catch you. Soft green eyes meet yours, paired with a gentleman's smile. Are you all right, my dear? You look ill. Guess that's what happens when a crazed man attacks someone with a minimal medical access. You know for a fact Adam is probably off schmoozing in a fancy dancy hospital that serves steak with shaved bits of gold sprinkled on top. The world can't be more unfair when a criminal gets better care than their victim. To the gentleman wearing a crisp button-up and slacks in 100-degree weather, you've seen weirder. You just nod and disentangle yourself from his hold. He waits until you're stable on your feet to let go. Ate one too many pancakes at the pancake house down on West Avenue. Challenged my friend to a contest. But you should see the other guy. Is that why you've got a nasty blood stain on your shoulder? Your heart stops and your hand flies to cover your shoulder. You wince at the sudden touch. It stopped bleeding. How did it open up again? He cocks his head to the side. Let me give you a ride to the ER. I'm certain they'll take care of your problem in a jiffy. Thanks for the offer, but I can't afford to fork over hundreds of dollars just to sit in a room, let alone get stitched up. I appreciate your concern, but I'll manage on my own. How about this instead? I'm a friend with a great doctor who runs a small and affordable urgent care center. He even offers to pay payment plans. If I take you there and I promise I can get you your bill halved, what do you think? Damn, that's a tempting offer. But one question lingers in your mind. What's in it for you? He adjusts the cufflinks on his button-up. All I ask for is an entertaining conversation on the drive over. You provide me that, and I'll consider it an equal exchange. So how about it? Okay, so we have already dealt with Adam, and he was a stranger that we tried to help. So let's just, we're not going to deal with strangers anymore. Nope. Hell to the no. Last time you let your guard down, you got stabbed, made out with aforementioned stabby asshole, and escaped by the skin of your teeth. You'll just take the name of the doctor and go. I'm good, thanks. I appreciate the offer, though. The man nods and digs into his front pocket of his suit before extending 2 business cards to you. The first belongs to the urgent care center. The second, you assume, belongs to him. Collision Industries. Saffron Ulbrich, talent manager. Right. You've seen guys like this before, claiming they hold your ticket to fame only to con you out of your rent money. You try handing his card back to him, but he holds up his hands, which are peppered with splashes of blood, probably from catching you earlier. The man, or rather Saffron, gives you an earnest smile. Feel free to call me in case you run into any trouble. Gotcha. Well, thanks again. I appreciate your help by any means. You listen out for footsteps as you make your way towards your car. Nothing. When you glance over your shoulder, he's on his phone and is texting someone or checking his social media or whatever. Damn, you become paranoid. Almost embarrassed, you climb into the driver's side of your car and start buckling your seatbelt. Wonder why you made such a mental fuss about everything. But when you glance up, you find Saffron staring right at you, and he's licking the specks of blood on his thumb with a bone-chilling smile. Oh, not a fucking again. You start to think if your aunt had the right idea with keeping at least one gun on hand. Too many creeps running Arizona as of late. Him. Dower Hotel, 8 a.m. Adam scrubs a towel over his face, pushing back the purple strands of hair plastered to his face, his body dripping with sweat. His legs ache after walking the equivalent of 3 miles on the hotel gym treadmill, but at least he's not thinking about you. Until he's thinking about you. He whips out his phone and checks his messages, desperate for something else to occupy his thoughts, but Saffron hasn't given him an update in hours. Adam's mouth pulls into a tight line, wondering what's taking so long. Where the hell are you hiding? Don't you know he has connections everywhere? Eyes everywhere? You should just give up already. There's nowhere safe for you to run. You're his now. A fact you need to learn sooner rather than later. Blowing out a disgruntled breath of air, Adam folds himself into the plush recliner stationed in front of the wide TV screen. He's never cared much for extravagant things, despite people always offering them left and right. He was taught to never want them, to never accept anything beyond his means, something he holds onto to this day. On screen, the news outlet discussed the devastation his fans are facing after Cake's latest concert got canceled due to an unforeseen injury Adam received while hiking. Not an entire lie. Technically, he was hitchhiking, and his latest target became more than he bargained for. A tidbit the general public will never know or learn if he has anything to say about it. Turning his attention back to his phone, he clicks on the message he received the other night from an unknown number that sits just below Saffron's number. The one that tells him who to kill and where. Your name is listed alongside your place of residence as well as your job occupation. Adam swallows thickly. He never realized they actually provided a link to your profile. His fingers hover above it, heart beating a mile a minute. He's never been on one of these websites before, although he's heard people mention it in passing. Quite a few people even tried to start a petition for him to join, to which he declined and publicly stated his discomfort. Adam never showed off anything more than his naked torso, and those were typically for photo shoots. Beneath the belt is, and always has been, out of the question. His eyes dart back to your name, and before he can stop himself, he clicks on a link. He brought immediately to your page, which offers a little bio that describes who you are and the specifics of what you offer. Yours doesn't give much away other than the fact that you do scantily clad cosplay and where to find your other socials. Thousands of people follow your account, a fact that, for some reason, gets under his skin and eats away at him. He pushes away the feeling, trying to investigate with a clear mind rather than letting what he discovered feed any emotion. But still, the new feeling budding in his chest, coloring his world from black and white to a new array of hues with newfound vibrancy are impossible to ignore. They burn like lit coals in his chest as he sees the ratings listed at the top of the page. There are a lot of them, all 5-star reviews, all salivating over the custom services you gave them, all interested in what lies underneath those clothes of yours. And you aren't even bothered by the fact. Maybe you even like it. God damn you. Without thinking and too absorbed in his thoughts, he scrolls downwards until he lands on your videos. He almost snaps his phone in fucking half. The video he lands on gives a little preview of what the content contains, which is you lying in bed modeling a very revealing cosplay that leaves little to the imagination. It's like you're mocking him with your eyes, taunting him in his newfound hunger by beckoning him forward, similar to how you did in his dreams. He squirms in his seat as you lick your lips. He can still taste you, the memory of your shared kiss on the abandoned highway burned into his memory. The fact that he knows what you taste like drives him crazy, like nothing else has before. Fuck. His pants, despite the fact that they're jogger pants, just got a lot more uncomfortable. Adam puts the phone down, almost slamming it onto the nightstand. He feels so fucking perverted and disgusted with himself. Why did he just do that now? He shouldn't have looked. Because now he wants to scroll through your feed until he's seen every inch of you so he can devour you with his eyes and commit each detail to memory. Even the foreboding voice warning him away from this path is drowned out by the roar in his ears and the blood thumping between his legs. Adam grips the armrest of the chair so tight that his nails break because he's afraid if he moves an inch he's going to reach for his phone again, watch a single one of those videos, and it chimes once. a text. Adam risks picking up his phone, only to look at the notifications on the lock screen. Saffron's name pops up. The preview message is 2 simple words. Found them. You. Park Bend, Arizona, 11:15 a.m. You arrived at an old, rundown trailer park, pulling onto the dirt drive that leads to a selection of mobile homes clustered together as if gathering for a congregation. Wooden slats meant to serve as fencing offer a piss-poor attempt to separate them and provide some form of privacy for local residents. A few people chatter in the middle of the road and ignore you while you're forced to navigate around them. You almost take out a portion of the aforementioned fence, which garners a visceral reaction from one of the men standing in the road. He shouts profanity at you after whacking the bumper of your car with a steel-toed boot before you can drive away. A cute little welcome back to the neighborhood present, all in the form of a new dent. How lucky. You just can't wait to beg your aunt to stay. White-knuckled gripping the steering wheel, you follow the rocky road right up until you come across a double-wide trailer painted tan with a slightly darker trim. The lawn is freshly trimmed, and there's a lovely cactus garden growing, and that's not your stop. Nope. It's a teeny tiny trailer sitting next to the double-wide where looking flamingos dapple the lawn in splashes of neon pink. Your new possible home. The teeny tiny trailer, not the double-wide. Again, you're oh so lucky. You really should start playing the lottery. Putting your car into park right next to the potted plant that's brown and withered, you step out and notice one of the blinds shift as though someone bent to peer out of it only to quickly pull away. Heading for the front door, actively avoiding the middle step of the porch, which remains unfixed after it caved in 2 years back, you raise your hand to knock, but it opens before you can. A hand reaches from the darkness and lashes onto your wrist, causing memories of Adam doing the exact same thing to come back, flooding back in a rush of panic and fear. He can't be here. He can't. Before you can open your mouth to even scream, the hand yanks you inside, another clamping over your lips as the door clicks shut. Your pulse palpitates in fear as you try to struggle out of your captor's hold. We're gonna bite the hand. Survival instinct kicks in. You chomp down on the hand covering your mouth. There's a shriek before you shove to the ground, your elbow banging painfully against the floor. Above you stands a tall, disheveled feature veiled in darkness. They nurse their hand, cursing under their breaths as they inspect the bite mark you left. The voice is distinctly female. Aunt Ruth? What the hell was that for? Yep, it's your aunt, all right. I thought you were someone else. Who else would I be? No one else lives here, you stupid brat. She turns and you hear the deadbolt locking into place, followed by a rapid succession of 4 more clicks coming soon after. When did she get all those extra locks? There was only one last time you checked. Yeah. Shh. Spittle flies from her lips as she shushes you and your mouth clamps shut with a resounding snap of your teeth. You watch as your aunt presses her ears against the door, quieting her breathing like she's afraid someone will overhear. There's only 2 possible reasons for this. Either the problematic neighbors are drawing penises on her flamingos again, or something really sketchy is going on. No pun intended. When Ruth finally pulls away from the door, she breathes a dramatic sigh of relief, full on pressing a hand to her chest and thanking God as if you're not standing there witnessing the whole debacle. Before you can comment on her erratic behavior, your aunt turns to you with her arms crossed over her chest, clucking her tongue. Now tell me why you're here. When you don't answer fast enough for her liking, she sneers. What, did your uncle demand you take something else from me? Sorry to disappoint you two, but I have nothing left to give. I'm not here because of him. I'm here because my living situation has gotten a bit complicated, and I need a place to stay while I sort things out. Your aunt's eyes narrow, or at least you imagine they do, considering you can't see due to the distinct lack of lighting. But you know your aunt's changed in expression due to the disturbance in the air, a slight shift in the winds. You've trained long and hard to read situations like this, guided by your Getty? Ancestors? Okay, Star Wars jokes aside, you just know her by now. Ah, so you're only visiting because you want something from me. Why am I not surprised? The comment irks you. Who were you delivering those guns to again? Certainly not yourself. That road trip from hell is the entire reason you're in this mess with Adam in the first place. If you never cross paths, and it's not like you want to ruin with her, but you've got nowhere else to go. Not when you discovered your worst fear a couple hours earlier. You. Park Bend, Arizona, 9:15 a.m., aka 2 hours earlier. After repairing your shoulder and taking a quick power nap in the front seat of your car, you find yourself sandwiched between booths at Breyer's Bar and Grill, nursing a glass of water with an empty plate in front of you. You are drawn in by the warm smells and advertisement of cheap food. Searching your car for pocket change, you manage to scrounge up just enough to order in order to get something decent and moderately filling. The way your jaw unhinges when you dig into your meal kind of scared the waiter off. He hasn't asked to refill your glass, and every time you glance over at him, he's looking a little pale, opting to converse with other patrons instead. Not that you mind. As long as you're allowed to loiter while you come up with a plan, you don't mind the lack of service. Besides, after running into Adam and Saffron, conversing with normal people proves difficult. You struggle a bit before, which is why your inner circle of friends remains far and few between. And now everyone is a potential threat, and in order to survive, you need to approach things carefully. This includes interacting with strangers. What you need is a friend or family member you can trust. Someone who can help you while you try to decide if you're going to keep your apartment or skip town, a temporary place of refuge. You make a mental list of potential prospects, crossing out those who lived out of state or those whom you lost contact with, eliminating almost everyone in the process. All except for one. Aunt Ruth comes to mind due to her sheer proximity and availability rather within the level of trust you share with her. But she's your best bet. Still, you can return home and put this entire thing behind you thanks to the possibility of Adam losing interest. Maybe he thought you were an easy target, and you weren't, so maybe a drunken shout draws your attention towards the front of the bar where an older gentleman waves a busted TV remote in the air. Batteries. Give me fucking batteries. I'm gonna miss the big game because of the stupid celebrity bullshit. The words slurred together in a tangled mess. When the bartender ignores it, the man leans across the counter and tries to yank at the man's pants. The bartender rolls his eyes as he cleans a glass with a white dish towel and simply steps away. We've been over this, Jamie. Please, don't make me call the police on you again. The drunk man, or Jamie as the bartender calls him, slumps back in his seat and grumbles as he checks the remote onto the bar. He folds his arms over his chest like a spoiled child who just got told he couldn't have dessert before dinner. Your eyes glide up to the TV to see what channel the TV's stuck on when your entire body goes rigid. Adam. On screen, the camera captures close-up shots of Adam's signature purple hair to his iconic earring before finally landing on his face. He beams at the camera with the same exact smile he wore moments before plunging the knife into your shoulder. A wolf in sheep's clothing. He really knows how to blend in, huh? Your nails dig into the meat of your thigh, wishing you could expose his true identity when the camera switch over to the interviewer, who already wears a smile of her own. She introduces herself as Lawrence Divtavano and excludes practiced confidence that one can only develop after years of working as with A-list celebrities. Today we're with Adam Godin, composer and lead vocalist of Cake. She turns to him and straightens a stack of laminated cards on her knee. Now, Adam, I hear about the accident and wanted to make sure you can handle doing this interview. Don't worry about rescheduling, and just be honest with me. How are you feeling? Your stomach plummets at the mention of an accident. The interview from today. Sure enough, there's a slight bulge underneath his shirt right above his hip bone. Clear-cut evidence he made his way off the highway with scars to prove. Part of you wishes he bled out on the asphalt, but you knew the blade didn't go deep enough to cause irreversible damage. You meant to maim, not kill, unlike a certain someone. And now, here, that certain someone continues on with his life while you're loitering at an 18 and up bar out of fear. What complete and utter bullshit. I'm great, Lawrence, and happy to be here. My injury was pretty shallow, and I just take extra precautions to ensure my recovery goes smoothly. I'll be up and running again in no time. He turns to the camera and you tense on reflex. It's as if he's looking straight at you with those sharp, introspective eyes. The smile he gives the camera comes slow and mocking. After all, you can't get rid of me that easily. Lawrence gives a good-natured laugh, but the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. To anyone else, he's a man determined to get back on his feet, but you know that comment was meant for you. It's a subtle way of saying he's not letting you go. Not by a long shot. You stare at the melting ice in your glass, trying to control your breathing as the interviewer presses a hand over her heart. I think I can speak for most of us when I say we're happy to hear that you have such a wonderful support system taking care of you. Now that you mentioned a while back that you and the members of Cake are pretty close, I assume they're part of your support system? Of course, they're like my brothers, they're my family, same goes for my manager. Oh? Then does he tell his found family about his cute hobby of disemboweling people? Do they go on brotherly bonding expeditions and laugh at the faces of their victims? Are all members of Cake just as messed up as their leader? Better question yet. Are they all looking for you, the lamb who managed to escape the slaughter? Panic rises in your throat. You pinch the bridge of your nose, close your eyes, and breathe deep as you hear the soft coos of the audience. You can't let him get the best of you. You'll get through this. And besides, what are the odds that the rest of his band members know and participate in what he does? The chances are slim. You're okay. You're safe. He's probably the only person looking for you right now, and he's busy and on live TV. You're fine. You glare back up at the screen with a newfound determination, and Lawrence smiles, her severe features softened by the expression. I can tell you, and I'm sorry. What was your manager's name again? Saffron. Adam leans back in his seat, crossing one long leg over the other, wearing the most radiant smile as he looks at the camera. Saffron Elbrick. Your heart stops for a moment. He did not just say Saffron. Not the same Saffron you ran into hours earlier. There's no fucking way he found you that easily. But your gut tells you he did. And now Saffron card burns a hole through your pocket. Unable to ignore the facts any longer, you withdraw your wallet from your pocket with shaking fingers and pluck out the business card given to you hours earlier. Sure enough, embossed in white ink, Saffron's full name stares back at you. Saffron Elbrick. Saffron Elbrick, who works with Adam's band. Saffron Elbrick, who licked your blood off his fingers like it was a gamer gall bathwater. The same man who ran into you at the gas station, which is only a 10-minute drive from here. That Saffron Elbrick. He knows what your car looks like, and the license plate number. He saw you get into it. He watched as you drove away. You thought it was odd he didn't follow you. You were prepared for that because you thought he was just another creep. But now... You stand up so sharply you almost knock your table over as you frantically scramble out of the booth. This is bad. Really bad. There's no doubt that your meeting with Saffron wasn't just a big coincidence. He was probably patrolling the entire area looking for you, and bada bing, he found you within 24 hours. You could only surmise one reason he didn't come after you. It's because he's saving you for Adam. And once Adam finds out what area you've hidden yourself in, he's going to come for you. And not the sexy kind of come either. You need to leave and get to your aunt's now. You almost steamroll past the waiter carrying a large platter and apologize over your shoulder as you hurry out the front door. A voice calls out to you, but you ignore it. Too occupied with getting the hell out of Dodge. The Arizona heat almost knocks you off your feet the second time today, but you power through as you race towards your car and hop inside. The waiter who called after you is frantically waving his hand over his head. You rev the engine and peel out of the parking lot, not even paying attention to the waiter or what he holds in his hands. You. Current time. Park Bend, Arizona. Go home. I'm not here running a cherry case. Aunt Ruth's harsh words snap you out of your flashback. They're clipped, leaving zero room for debate as she rifles through a nearby cupboard. There's a bunch of liquor inside, vodka, rum, moonshine even. A good portion of them are half drained, and your aunt scratches her head, muttering to herself. When she notices you watching, she slams the cupboard shut. Go on, leave. I already told you you're not welcome here. Now get. From the set of her jaw to the outward jut of her hips, you can tell she's 2.2 seconds from going off. She's a stubborn woman with a southern grit and nasty attitude to boot. But if there's one thing you know about her, it's her weakness for free manual labor. The entire reason she claimed to have married your uncle was because he took over the housework and paid the bills. A bona fide user. But you need to barter with her for a safe place to stay. Your eyes drift towards the sink, cluttered with grimy dishes and cups filled with souring milk. They tower like a fragile stack of cards ready to blow. You pick up a fork with dry flecks of something on the tines and wave it around. I'll take care of any and all chores if you let me stay. Her lips twist like she's just sucked on a moldy lemon. But her jaw loosens and her initial stubbornness recedes. And grocery runs? Done and done. She hesitates, but clearly it's just for show because she wants you to think she's doing the world's biggest favor. Then, fine, but you slack off, I boot your ass back where little old Laverne sleeps. Laverne's a cactus. She's talking about a cactus. Won't be a problem. Aunt Ruth glances at her cabinet filled with the devil juice, a code name she and your uncle called their liquor in front of you when you were a kid. When you asked for some at a tender age of 9, your uncle gave you normal juice instead and tinged it with red food coloring. Then your aunt threw a fit after she found out he gave you the last cup. Her temper tantrum lasted for 4 days. Yeah, an adult woman rampaging about juice. There's a reason your uncle's your favorite relative despite not being blood related to you. Aunt Ruth opened the cupboards once more. While she's busy, you replace your fork with a sharp knife and hide it in your pants despite the fact it's dirty. Better to be prepared if you're going out again. And make yourself useful and get me a carton of orange juice for my vodka and 3 scratch tickets and $5 ones. She locates her purse and hands you 2 crumpled $20 bills. If there's anything left over, get some paper plates. You got it. You're about to reach for the door, but quick as a whip, she's already ahead of you and unlatching all the locks. You don't even have time to think as you're ushered outside, tossed onto the porch, and the door slams behind you, followed by the lock snapping into place. You look in your money in your hand or reach into your back pocket where your wallet should be, only it's not there. You search your car next underneath your seats in the center console as well as the glove compartment. Not there either. And you remember the waiter calling after you, trying to draw your attention. Now you understand why. You left your wallet at the bar. Shit. Park Bend, Arizona. Adam enters Breyer's Bar and Grill with slumped shoulders and an aura of a man who just lost everything. He pulls his baseball cap down to shield his eyes as he takes a seat at the bar before waiting the bartender over. What can I get you? Adam makes sure his voice cracks a little around the edges as he answers, Bourbon on the rocks, please. He'll set a pathetic sniff while the bartender pulls out a glass. He works with practical efficiency, but Adam can sense the man's growing curiosity and concern over his behavior by the certain cues in his body language. Like the way the bartender chews at his lips as if he's debating on asking if Adam's alright. Or the way he places Adam's drink of choice in front of him, soft and polite, as if he's afraid of startling a deer. He's a natural empath, one that can be easily exploited for information. Perfect. Is there anything else I can get you? Adam solemnly shakes his head. No, I'm fine. Thank you, though. He keeps his voice soft and quiet as he rubs away the condensation in the lip of the glass. He forces himself to keep a straight face as the man shifts from foot to foot. It's almost too easy. Then, as predicted, "Hey, you okay, man?" Adam swallows thickly, and he can feel the man growing more and more worried. He's got his attention. This is perfect. I just got a lot going on, sorry. He sighs and pushes the drink away. I don't even feel like drinking this. I'm just a mess right now. The man hesitates, but then puts Adam's bourbon off to the side as he braces his crossed arms against the countertop as he leans forward. Adam scrubs his hand down his face to hide his smirk. He really should try out for acting one of these days. He's too good at it. After he finds you and slits your pretty little throat, he'll bring up the idea to Saffron. Knowing Saffron and his desire for the band to reach the grander heights, he's almost certain he'll agree. But first things first, he needs to weasel some information out of this guy. You can talk about it if you want. I'll listen. Adam shakes his head, face still covered. It's so hard not to laugh. Why are these people so easy? He clears his throat of laughter, although the bartender will think otherwise. I don't want to bother you. I've already done enough today. No, it's okay. That's what bartenders are for you. He's so sweet and sincere, Adam could puke. But instead, Adam just lowers his hand and lets out a deep, shuddering breath. It's silly, but I got into a fight with my significant other. It started off as a light argument. They were frustrated over something I said, and I responded negatively because I didn't think it was bad. Adam sniffs again. Then it spiraled from there, and they ran out of the house. I just spent hours looking for them, but I don't know where they ran off to, and they won't answer their phone. I'm so scared they got hurt. The bartender grows solemn. Well, maybe I can keep an eye out and tell them you're looking for them. What do they look like? Adam whips out his phone and shows him a picture of you. It's the one he grabbed off your social media and saved for this exact purpose, photoshopping the two of you together in order to feed into his story. The bartender takes Adam's phone and scratches the back of his head. Oh yeah, actually they were here a couple hours ago. Adam perks up. Really? And they're okay? And they're not hurt? Man gives Adam his phone back. No, they seemed a bit jittery and left their wallet behind. He passed the back of his pocket for emphasis. I picked it up and tried calling after them, but they seemed like they were in a hurry. I'm keeping it on hand in case they come back looking for it. Adam looks down at your photo with fake fondness. I'm so glad. Thank you so much. Maybe they're still near here. Sorry I couldn't be more help. Adam allows a few fake tears to slip from his eyes, and he rubs them away with his thumb and forefinger. As if on cue, the bartender rounds the corner and soothes Adam with a comforting pat to the back. A warm, comforting presence to some, but to Adam it's annoying. Pathetic. Still, he's given him the perfect opportunity, and what kind of a man would Adam be if he didn't take it? Standing up, he hugs the bartender, stiffens in surprise at the sudden gesture. Adam gives the man a hard squeeze around his shoulders, playing up his gratefulness in order to distract him from where his other hand travels. His fingertips brush the top of your wallet, and without hesitation, he slips it out and into his own pocket. This happens within a minute or seconds. The bartender doesn't even notice, nor does anyone else. He's got what he wanted, plus more. Now it's time for him to leave before he overstays his welcome. He withdraws a decent-sized tip and places it on the counter. Thank you again, really. Before the bartender can even respond, his eyes go wide at the amount of money. Adam's already out the door and heading back to his car. He inspects your wallet a few minutes later, away from the prying eyes at the rest stop. Adam smirks to himself as he draws it out with relish. Who would have known you would have been this careless? For some reason, someone who's evaded him so long, you keep making mistake after mistake. It's really sad. He hums to himself, tapping the corner of your wallet to his lips while grinning. Damn. He wishes he could see the expression on your face when you returned to the bar to find out someone was looking for you. You're smart enough to draw your own conclusions from his trail of breadcrumbs. He licks his lips, delighted at the pleasurable thought of you trembling in fear like a lost little lamb cornered by a big nasty wolf when the bartender tells you. Will you die on the spot right then and there? Or will you wait for him to show his face first before succumbing to the realization that he's inescapable? He hopes it's the latter. Adam can't wait for the chance to finally break you. But he needs to find you in order to do so. He looks back down at your wallet and traces the fake black leather with his thumb, noting the worn inside and distinct smell of you. It's almost too much, the way you flood his senses with your cloyingly sweet scent. So he breathes through his mouth and focuses on sorting instead. Adam gets a sense of who you are as he rifles through your reward cards, studies your driver's license, and counts each coin down to the last penny. He gleans superficial facts about you, things easy to spot even without your wallet, and puts them aside for a rainy day. Next are your crumpled up receipts. He scours through them. They range from small purchases to much larger grocery runs. None of them are relevant. He glosses through each of them with learned efficiency until he lands on the last one. It belongs to a gas station. That's quite out of the way from your residential area. The day is from yesterday, early in the morning, and quite a few hours before you pulled over to help him, thinking he was a hitchhiker. He doesn't know why you drove down that deserted highway. He never needed to ask why people did the things they did before he killed them, because they never escaped. Not until you. But these are the most important questions because they're a possible clue to where you're hiding. For what reason did you go into the outskirts of Park Bend? And why did you do so before making what he assumed was a long trip? He searches the other receipts for possible answers, but there is none. Adam leans back in his seat, pondering over loose theories, none of which hold any merit. Then it hits him. You were visiting someone. Maybe a friend, or relative, or a lover. It doesn't matter why you visited them, but the possibility that you did, as well as the possibility that you were hiding out at their place, could lead him back to you. It would explain the lack of receipts, and there's no other reason for you to visit. Any groceries would sit blistering hot car for hours, and he doubts you visited a restaurant. No, you visited someone. But who? That's a question he can't solve on his own, not without help. He flips open his phone and calls Saffron. I need you to do something for me. You sit outside in your idling car while beating yourself up for a solid 10 minutes. Mistakes were made. One piled on top of another and crushing you under their weight. The biggest being the fact that you agreed to drop off those stupid guns. You should have played sick or let your phone drift to voicemail because when your family calls, it's never for anything good. You want to bang your head against the dashboard until you pass out. Of course you left your wallet, because of course everything that can go wrong will. You're so fucking tired of this, of the games, of hiding, of panicking, of not knowing what to do. Adam should be the one who's afraid, not you. Not when he's the one who has everything left to lose while you have nothing. But he's after your life, and while it's shitty at times, you're kind of attached to it. Going out for a grocery run wouldn't be so bad if you could just order future stuff online. But losing your license and debit card means you'll have to wait. And the last time you tried replacing your debit card, it got lost in the mail and were forced to wait 2 extra weeks. The delivery service sucks here. So more likely it's gonna happen a second time around. Which leaves you with 2 options. Either go back to the bar, risk running into Mr. Relentless, but minimizing the need to go outside as frequently, or hope the delivery guys don't fail you and risk going out to get groceries for the next few weeks. Neither option is great. But going to the bar makes for one big risk, while the other makes for multiple. The choice is obvious. You have to return to the bar. You look at the cash your aunt handed you, wishing she'd use a debit card instead. But the woman refuses to expose herself to online feds and works under the table. Everything comes in either crisp dollar bills or nothing at all. She always errs on the side of caution, but in all honesty, maybe you should take a few notes from her book, especially with Adam on your tail. But you at least have something you didn't have last time. The sharp kitchen knife glitters in the passenger seat. Sure, it's grimy, but you can at least defend yourself rather than being defenseless. You mentally prepare yourself on the drive over. There's no telling if you'll have to use it. Aunt Ruth. Park Bend, Arizona. Ruth stands beside her bed looking down at an old photograph from before she ever got married. The one where she's in front of her old church, the day after her high school graduation. Here she's younger, prettier, hopeful for the future. Sharp contrast to the woman reflected in the glass, her eyes tired from battling nightmares and skin wrinkled from age. How would her younger self feel seeing her now? Probably ashamed and disgusted. She knows herself well enough to see that much. Back in those days, everything was sorted into neat little boxes, and anything that stood outside of it was a menace to society. Those ideas matched that of her friends perfectly. So much so that her mother used to tease the six of them about being a hive mind. She's also the one that took this photo, catching Ruth and her friends mid-laugh with their matching cotton dresses of alternate teals and pinks. How many years has it been since then? She's lost count. It's hard to keep track of months and days and years when they all bleed together like one monotonous heap. Her ex-husband was the reason she was able to keep track of time, and now he's gone, taking all of her precious guns with her. Did he know the real reason why she slept with a knife under her pillow and a revolver in her nightstand? Did he take them out of spite? Or is he really that thick-headed? She'll never know. Ruth places the photo back into her drawer for safekeeping and places the frame face down before slamming the drawer shut. She doesn't want to lay eyes on her one treasure. The rest of the photographs she had got lost after she moved from state to state. Now it's all she has left of. There's a crash and Ruth screams before slapping her hands over her mouth. What was that? Her gaze skates over to the source of the crash and she watches as a large hand grips the ledge of the window. Oh no. No. Did they find her? The same person that get Alice and Grady and Chelsea? Yet, who else could it be? There's no one else who would do this. No one else she fears for all this time. But how did they find her? She's always been careful, never leaving too many traces of herself online and moving when she needed to. How are they here? Then it clicks. You must have brought them here. You stupid little... There's a crunch of boots, a soft huff of breath as someone crawls in with a head full of dark blue hair. Ruth watches in horror as the figure drops to the floor with practiced ease and rises from the ground like Lucifer himself rising from hell. The intruder wipes sweat off his forehead, giving a small little huff of breath from the effort of breaking in. It's so nonchalant, like he's used to getting away with this sort of thing without facing any repercussions. This roots her to the ground, her body frozen in place. Move. Her breathing comes in steady pants. She can't bring herself to even wiggle a pinky finger. She's so scared. Why is she so weak? She's always been so weak. Back then, when with her, and now this man who poses a threat to her life. And oh God help her. The man takes his time facing Ruth as he peels off his blue wig and cap, tossing them both to the ground with relish. He groans as he raises his head, massaging his scalp underneath the tangled mess of purple hair. His cross earring glints in the light, capturing Ruth's full attention. Wait a moment. Why does he have that? She knows that earring, but she hasn't seen it since the unfortunate news about Clarissa came out, and back then it wasn't an earring. In fact, it was a pendant that belonged on a necklace, a gift she gave to Clarissa for her birthday so many odd years ago. So where did he get it? Now that's much better. The man groans and Ruth stiffens at the melodic nature of his voice. It's almost eerie how similar he sounds, just a more masculine version of her. And those eyes? Ruth's hands fly to her mouth as she tries covering her shock. You're not who I'm looking for. His boots crunch over broken glass as he covers the distance between them. She shrinks back. Please don't hurt me. The intruder slowly lifts his arm so she can see the hilt of a blade tucked at his side. He smirks at the way she shrinks back, reveling in the effect he has on her. He's sick, twisted. Ruth backs up against her nightstand. Her fingertips drift toward the handle of the drawer as she works on inching it outward. What do you want from me? I don't have nothing to give. I beg to differ, but I'm not the begging sort. His eyes wander over to where she's inching the drawer open. What do you have in there? I don't... She yanks the drawer open and her fingers brush metal before Adam yanks her hand away by the wrist. Ruth shrinks as he towers over her. You're not supposed to play with guns. They're dangerous, you know. He says, flicking his free hand towards the revolver. And you wouldn't accidentally want to hurt me, would you? Ruth's bottom lip trembles. She can't bring herself to answer, and the intruder rolls his eyes before they land on the picture hidden in her nightstand. Oh, what's this? He tries to grab her treasure, but Ruth's brain regains connectivity, grabbing his arms before he can. Don't touch that! There's venom in her voice, surprising both her and the intruder. The man actually cracks an annoying smile. Ah, I see the family resemblance now. Turns out you've got a bit of piss and vinegar in you as well. And honestly, it's really fucking annoying. He rips Ruth's hand off his arm, sending her tumbling onto the bed. Before she can make another attempt to stop him, the man picks up the group photo with a defiant smirk. Ruth knows when he spotted her because his entire body goes rigid, eyes snapping open wide like blinds on a window. His mouth a single word, and just like that, Ruth's suspicions are confirmed. She never knew what happened to him. She didn't even recognize him at first because he'd grown so much and changed everything about himself. But now, I'm sure you don't remember me, Adam, but Adam's face goes stone cold, and the heat of the room drops 20 degrees, chilling Ruth to the bone. He grips the frame so hard the wood cracks from the pressure. Well, isn't this interesting? He looks down at her, and the hatred in his eyes is absolute. If he didn't want to kill her before, she's almost certain he does now. There's no reason he wouldn't at this point. They both know what she's done, the grief she caused, that all of them caused. And now her karma has come back tenfold. She's going to die. And she knows it. Ruth scrambles backwards on the bed before she hits the wall as though he withdraws his knife. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Adam cocks his head, his grip on the hilt white-knuckled. No, you aren't. Ruth screams as the seal descends on her, causing a few lazy crows resting in her backyard to go shooting towards the graying skies. You. Monsoon season sure picks one hell of a time to pop off. Torrential rain starts pouring down and soaking through your t-shirt, pants, and the worst offender of all, your socks as you make your way into the bar. Your stomach growls at the fresh, warm scent of food, and you crave both something to eat and a fresh change of clothes. But that'll have to wait until you get back to your aunt's trailer. Not to mention cleaning the massive stack of dishes if you want any utensils. You're pretty sure something in that sink winked at you. Maybe you can sneak a purchase of some cheap rubber gloves from the Dollar Street down on your way back. A woman bustles past you and stomps on your foot as you try to make your way towards the waitress. Fuck that smarts. Did she just stab your big toe with her 4-inch pump on purpose? By the way she's smirking while texting on her phone sure says as much. What the heck was that for? Don't cut in line. You scowl, resisting the urge to pull it an Adam by chucking her phone into the fish tank sitting nearby. But the fish didn't do anything wrong. You instead turn away and head towards the front, tossing a brief explanation over your shoulder. Not that you owe her one. I'm just here to get my wallet. I'm not waiting for a table. She grabs your arm, pulling you back, snarling. Hey, I said wait your turn. The action reminds you of him, and something inside you snaps under the weight of it. Her next words die on her lips as you turn to face the woman in red, filled with so much audacity. Her hand drops limply at her side. When you move toward her, she holds up her hands, and you realize it's not your face that she's afraid of. She's standing at your side where the kitchen knife rests. Ah, that makes a lot more sense. Well, it worked well enough for you as long as she doesn't start complaining to the staff. You don't really need the added trouble of getting pulled into a police station. You've got enough to worry about. I'm not here to cause trouble. I just forgot something, so you can leave me well enough alone. The woman nods, swallowing hard while she takes a step back. A few people behind her grow curious and peer over her shoulder. Great. Gotta love the scene she's causing, giving you yet another reason to hurry and get the hell out of here. When you make it past the crowd, you manage to catch one of the waitresses' attention while she's bustling from table to table by tapping on her shoulder. Excuse me, but has anyone found a wallet? The waitress jabs her thumb towards the bar, chewing loudly on her gum. Thomas mentioned something about finding one earlier. Oh, thanks. She waves you off as you continue on to her next table while you head towards the man dipped from head to toe in tattoo ink. As you approach, you overhear him making jokes in the middle of with a middle-aged patron who pats his potbelly. Jesse says dad bods are all the rage these days. Tattooed man Thomas chuckles as he pours the patron a drink and slides it over in a well-practiced aim. They're not wrong, you know. I'm sure you'll find someone who appreciates you for you. Just do yourself a solid and delete Winder. That coming from personal experience. I heard about it from friends, actually. I'm not really into that dating or hooking up scene, so all my horror stories come from them. The patron nods in understanding. Here's to that. Winder's dog shit. Thomas chuckles again, but stops once you step up to the bar. He gives you the once-over, his brow wrinkling, lips pursing. Have I seen you before? Maybe from earlier. I accidentally left my wallet behind and I heard you found one. Thomas snaps his fingers, finally placing you. Right, I tried chasing after you, but you left in such a rush I didn't manage to return it in time. The patron takes one large swig of his drink before standing up from the bar and nods towards Thomas. He pushes a crisp $20 bill his way. I guess that's my cue. Thomas holds up a finger. You've had a few. Is Jesse on their way to pick you up? The patron rolls his eyes and waves Thomas off. Yeah, they're already parked outside. Thomas nods his approval, and the patron gives both you and Thomas a two-finger salute before making his exit. Thomas pats the now empty space in front of him. Feel free to sit. Can I get you anything? No, that's okay. I just came for my wallet. Don't want to chat with old Roya? I'm a bit offended. His smile says he's not in the least bit offended. You like him almost immediately, but you're also still in a hurry to get in and out, just in case Adam somehow figures out you're here. I'm in a bit of a rush, but maybe next time? Pinky promise? He says it and actually sticks out his pinky. You laugh, and God, it's been so long since you laughed, as you hook your pinky with his. It's a deal. Thomas grins all boyish sincerity before drawing away and wiping down the other patron's glass. Glad to hear it. So, out of curiosity, did you and your boo make up? Your what now? My boo? You know, your man, your partner, your lover. Your mood shifts from soft, vibrant yellow, glowing and happy, to uncertain purple, tinged with fear. What he's saying makes no sense. He came in here earlier looking for you. Said two of you got into a fight and you ran off. He was really worried, you know, afraid you got hurt or something. There's no doubt in my mind that man loves you. You scrunch your eyes closed as if it'll stop his words. There's only one man searching for you, and he wants you dead. Adam. But how did he come in here without people noticing? He couldn't have unless... Oh, that little shit. He disguised himself, didn't he? Talk about being a chameleon, changing shape and personalities to suit his environment. You probably already know that, though. You give him a non-committal smile. Something like that. Thomas accepts the answer and reaches into his back pocket. He frowns. Strange. We got busy earlier, so I just kept your wallet on hand. Did I drop it by accident? He lost it? No, wait. If Adam was here, he probably managed to get his grubby little hands on your property somehow. Which is bad. Because knowing him, he's going to figure out a way to locate where you're staying. You don't know how, but your sixth sense is tingling. I'm so sorry. I swear The phone behind him rings and he holds up a finger, mouthing another apology before answering. Hello, Thomas from Briar's Bar and Grill speaking. How may I help you? There's a pause and Thomas rubs the back of his neck as he turns towards you. He mouths, "Your boyfriend's on the phone. He knows you're here. Is he calling from outside, waiting for you to come out wherever you are?" He's the type to turn this entire charade into one of his games. Thomas covers the receiver. "You should really talk to him." "Yeah, because talking will solve the bad blood going on between you and Adam. He wants to impale you on the end of his knife, but Thomas doesn't know that." "Fine, let me talk to him." You motion for the phone, and Thomas hands it over with a smile. Oh, this poor, sweet, naive man. Adam tricked him too, just like everyone else. Your words are cutting as you answer, wanting to get the first word in edgewise before you hear his stupid voice. "Hello, honey." You hear sniffling and the soft, quiet sobs of a woman. It's not what you were expecting. "Hello?" You can hear Adam speaking in the background to someone. When the crying woman speaks, horror floods you like a broken dam. That's... "Help me?" You grip the receiver so tight you almost break it. Thomas mouths, "Is everything okay?" You wave him off, trying to appear more calm than you feel. How did he get to Ruth? How did he find her? How did he... Adam comes onto the line, unnervingly chipper. "Hear that? She's begging for your help. Won't you come and help her?" "Let her go." There's more shuffling, and your poor aunt's sobbing gets louder, and you can hear her begging for Adam to put the knife away. You grind your teeth so hard you almost break one. How dare he? How dare he go for your family? When you get your hands on him, you'll go straight for the throat. You know, I didn't think looking for you would lead me to this shit stain, but as it turns out, maybe fate does in fact exist. Who would have thought? I guess I'll have to reassess my beliefs. This is between you and me, you fucking asshole. Leave other people out of this. Oof, touchy. You're getting all worked up, and here I am being nice enough to put your dear aunt on the phone. I'd say I'm being quite generous given the circumstances. What circumstances? What are you talking about? Stalking me to the ends of the earth? Because if I didn't know any better, I'd say you're a bit obsessed with me. Careful, Adam, or I'll start thinking you've got an unrequited crush. The words come out scathing, sharp as kitchen knives hidden in your pants, and Adam goes silent on the other end. A sharp cry, and Adam responds with venom. Ever suggest something like that again, and I'll start chopping off her body parts. You bite your lip from saying anything else. It's one thing if it's between you and him, but it's another when your aunt's involved. She may not be your favorite person, but you still don't want to see her hurt. What do you want from me, Adam? You know what I want. You hate him. God, you hate him. You wish a stray bolt of thunder would blast him out of this existence and isekai his sorry butt into a world of pain and suffering. Fine, just leave Ruth out of this. Acting so brave. It's kind of cute the way you trying to puff up yourself to be bigger when in reality you're just a scared little kitten. Are you going to scratch me with those little claws of yours? He's baiting you. Anything you say will give him room to hurt Ruth, and knowing him, he'll blame it on your behavior rather than his own sadistic tendencies. You keep your mouth shut. What? Cat got your tongue? When you still don't answer, he turns, mocking. Hello, are you still there? If you don't answer within the next minute, I'll drill a hole in your beloved aunt's head. I don't get you. What was that? You're kind of quiet. I said, I don't get you. Your hand slams against the countertop and Thomas jumps from where he's standing, halting the conversation between him and a new patron. Lover's quarrel. You explain to the patron and Thomas, who stare at you with concern. Back to Adam, you lower your voice a few octaves. I didn't even go to the police. I've left you you well enough alone. Why can't you return the damn favor? Because you're a stain on this world, just like this aunt of yours. What do you even know about me? I've done nothing to you. I know enough. No, I'd suggest you refrain yourself from throwing another tantrum, or I'll make do on my promises. You do as I say, and let your aunt live. You mean live long enough for her to watch you slit my throat? Adam chuckles darkly. Either way, she gets to live another minute. If you don't comply, I'll kill her here and now. Not to mention, I've got eyes on that bar. They'll track you wherever you go. Now, you'll be good and come back to me, won't you? You close your eyes, trying not to have a mental breakdown. You're trapped like a rat in a cage. And if you even try telling Thomas to call for help, he's going to kill Aunt Ruth the second you open your mouth. There's only one available option. You have to face him again, your literal worst nightmare. Fine, where do you want to meet? Do I really need to spell it out for you? The trailer. Adam gives a slow clap, sarcasm dripping in his tone. Congratulations, you put 2 and 2 together. Now hurry up, or else she'll play the consequences. Your aunt screams and the line goes dead with you standing in place trying to keep from hurling, the tang of bile in the back of your throat both strong and acidic. Your thoughts spiral out of control in a vicious tornado, tearing through your common sense and destroying your sanity by the minute. Adam resorted to using your own family as a bargaining chip in order to get what he wants. He's got Aunt Ruth. And it's all your fault. It doesn't matter how you feel about her. This is your fight, and now she's been drug into the middle of this sick and twisted game Adam's playing. You couldn't forgive yourself if she died because of you. You have to save her. You have to. A hand touches your shoulder and you jump like you were shocked with a live wire. You whip around to find Thomas staring at you with growing concern. Everything okay? You seem agitated. Yeah, I just gotta head home. We've got some stuff to sort out. You know, couple stuff and all that. You can hear the tremor in your voice, but Thomas doesn't seem to notice. He just nods sagely. I wish you the best of luck. Fights with loved ones are hard, but they turn out okay no matter the end result. He gives your shoulder a reassuring squeeze as if to emphasize his point. Yeah, thanks for the help and advice. You hope he's right, because things are going to get dicey in the next half hour, and you really don't know if you're going to make it out of this alive. Outside, you find the storm's amplified tenfold. Debris picks up and flies through the air. Trees bend and almost break at the force of the winds. The weather matches how you're feeling right now as you sprint across the parking lot to your car. To your left, you can see headlights of a small reefer truck blasting your car with their windshield wipers whipping back and forth. When you get into the driver's seat and head straight for the highway, it pulls out after you and begins its pursuit. You try weaving out of pursuit, anything to shake them off, but no matter how hard you try, they always remain 2 tail lengths behind you. It's not until the midway point that they start tailgating you. You assume this is what Adam meant when he said he had eyes on you. Whoever's in that car is his informant. The damn stalker. They call Adam as soon as you showed up. You're betting they did. How else would Adam know to call there? He knew what you were going to do before you did it. He's playing a game of chess, and now he's getting closer to winning this nasty-ass game of his thanks to his helper. Your eyes go back to the reefer truck. As soon as you stop, you peer into your rearview mirror to see if you can sneak a peek at the driver. You catch a flash of familiar white hair. As if sensing your eyes on him, Adam's informant waves. Saffron. These 2 bastards. You're half tempted to go into reverse and ram your bunker into the grill of the truck, and your hand hovering over the gear sticks, fingers twitching at the idea. No, you can't. You wrench your hand away and force it back onto the steering wheel. If anything goes down, he'll tell Adam. And then your aunt's blood will be on your hands. You need to stay compliant, because now there's more than one life at stake here. yours and hers. You need to play things carefully. It's your best shot at making this out of this alive and without bringing any more harm to your family. You take a deep, shuddering breath. Stay calm, stay collected, and try to stay safe. The rest of the drive feels long and torturous as you force down your hectic thoughts. Thunder booms in the skies while wind tugs at your car and your heart thuds well over the speed limit. When you finally reach the trailer park, everyone's lights are off, either asleep or out drinking. You pull in front of your aunt's mobile home and step out as the reefer truck stops behind you. They keep their lights on, illuminating your way as you walk up the steps. You hesitate before knocking. There's a pause. Your breathing almost seems as loud as the rain. What awaits for you behind the store? What have you come to find? When there's no response for over a minute, you almost consider knocking again. Then the locks start clicking. Click. He's in there. Click. Where will you run? Click. He's going to kill you this time. Click. Death is here. Your time is up. You test the doorknob as soon as you hear the last click. Inside, the lights are off. Glass crunches under the soles of your shoes, and with each step you feel like you're suffocating. He's here. He's in here. He's in the same room. Waiting. Watching. You can feel his presence in the dark, lurking like a monster sizing up its prey. Why isn't he saying or doing anything? Usually he can't shut up because he loves hearing himself talk so much. At least from how he's presented himself on that highway so long ago. You swallow the lump in your throat and dare to speak. I've done what you asked. I'm here. I'm the one you want. I'll let my aunt go. You wait. Nothing but silence. You try peering through the darkness, searching for his silhouette, but everything blends together in odd shapes. You reach out for what you think could be him, but your hands land on a messy dish from earlier. Where the heck is he? Your hand go to your hips, waiting for him to tackle you to the ground like he did last time. Adam? You take a step back, wondering if he's managed to conceal himself in such a small space. Is he going to springboard out from under the table like a toy Jack in the Box? You wouldn't put it past him. You get ready to check under the table just in case, and turn towards it. Something brushes your ankle and you yelp, taking a few steps back. Lightning flashes, allowing the light to peer through the broken window. You realize that's where the glass came from. And as for what's near your ankle, you scream at the same time thunder booms in the sky, lightning illuminating the room once more. Your aunt lies motionless on the ground with her body covered in blood that soaks through the brown carpet. And above her stands Adam. He holds onto one of her arms while the other goes to scrub the streak of blood off his face. He finally speaks. His words drip with poison wrapped in velvet. Well, well, well. He steps over Ruth's body and drops her hand, his pace slow and dangerous like a hunter on the prowl. You take a step back, but hit something that in the process and tumble to the floor. You stare up at Adam's wide frame in horror as he traces a hand along the curve of his knife. He then bends down towards your level and tips your chin up with the point of his blade. His forever cruel smile returns as he continues. It looks like I finally found you, my elusive little pest. Is that the ending? Oh, chapter 2. Saffron. Briar's Bar and Grill earlier. Saffron taps his finger along the edge of the steering wheel as he watches you disappear into the bar, your body illuminated by lightning as it pulses through the sky. Idly, he brings his thumb to his mouth and licks. He can still taste your blood from earlier today, fresh and sweet like cotton candy, a sharp contrast to your guarded personality. He marvels at how much a person's taste can differ from how they present themselves to the world. Those who act soft and sweet often have a rancid aftertaste, or those who parade around with vibrant personalities often end up being bland in flavor. But you... He winces as his teeth accidentally tear through the skin and he draws his thumb away from his mouth, studying the pearl of blood formed at this open wound. He got carried away again. He licks it away with a quick swipe of his tongue, trying to ignore the vomit-inducing taste. Enough of this longing. Soon he'll have the vials of your blood to mix with his liquor, plenty to drink and savor for years to come if he preserves it long enough. Not to mention the delicious meat he'll pair it with. He just needs to remain patient. Saffron busies himself by looking at his phone and going over Cake's schedule. He shuffles around a lot due to Adam's unforeseen injury, which leaves most of their week open. Perfect considering the amount of cleanup this will take. Adam informed him of your aunt being a probable casualty, but since she's a recluse, it's unlikely anyone will know her missing for some time. They can make a few payments here and bribes there in order to keep suspicion off them. Still, it would have been so much easier had Adam done what he set out to do earlier. Everything was planned accordingly, not a flaw in place. So what happened out there that allowed you to escape? Yesterday evening, Door Hotel. Saffron steps inside the hotel elevator and presses a button for the main floor, adjusting the cuffs of his button-down shirt as he waits for the door to close. Damn. No matter how many times he gets his clothing tailored, they never seem to fit quite right. It's not like he hit a growth spurt. He's far beyond his prepubescent years where changing height and length in limbs were a problem. No, it's another matter entirely. Saffron sighs and forces himself to stop fiddling with his attire, accepting defeat yet again, when a young man with short cropped hair joins him. He smells faintly of lavender and honeysuckle. Yesterday it was rosemary and mint. He glances at the man's hands, slight hint of dirt caked underneath his cuticles, and nails cut to the quick. Saffron smiles as his fingers hover over the elevator button. Floor? The man offers up a quiet, subdued smile of his own, mouse-like in nature. Lobby, please. Same as me. He says and hits the button. That in itself is a lie. He has nowhere to go, at least not until to retrieve Adam and help dispose of the bodies. No, he's here for him. The cute, timid gardener boy stares at the ground whenever he goes, even on his way to the little florist shop that he works at a few blocks down the road. Saffron bought a bouquet of meaningless daffodils in order to engage even the slight conversation with the man. And when he discovered underneath that demeanor, soft-spoken act was an inquisitive mind, one that Saffron was ravenous to get to know on a deeper level. Saffron turns towards the young man, about to engage in polite conversation when his cell phone begins to ring classical music, flooding the small space. He smiles at the young man. Please excuse me. The young man holds up his hands, and Saffron catches the sight of a band-aid wrapped around his thumb. Oh no, you're fine, don't mind me. So considerate. Saffron has to dig his nails into his phone to keep his composure. Patient, Saffron, you'll scare him off. He's made that mistake many times before. Acting overeager, asking them to dinner with him only for them to stand him up, but he's learned to adapt, and soon he'll have this man on a silver platter. He'll make sure of it. Saffron answers the call with a firm hello. There's heavy breathing on the other end, followed by a curse and a grunt. Fuck. Saffron frowns, worry zipping through him in an instant, but he's forced himself to remain composed. Playing the part of concerned parent will only serve to aggravate Adam. What happened? Adam hisses through his teeth, and Saffron hears the sound of heavy footsteps. They got away. Saffron blanches until the words register. They what? Did he hear him right? But no one's escaped Adam. No one. So how? Adam answers as if knowing exactly what's on Saffron's mind. They managed to catch me off guard before stabbing me with my own fucking knife. Then they got in their car and sped off. Another grunt, and then under his breath, I'm gonna fucking kill him. Saffron rubs the bridge of his nose as the elevator dings and the door opens, signaling they've reached the lobby. The young blonde man steps out without a moment's hesitation, and any chance Saffron had for inviting him out to dinner is now ruined. He really hoped today was the day. But until they take care of you, he'll need to take a rain check. All right, I'm coming to pick you up. Stay where you are. Adam doesn't answer and instead hangs up. A moment later, Saffron gets a text for Adam's coordinates, so about a mile off where he dropped him off last. Saffron pockets the phone and locates the rental car before hopping in and setting off for Adam's location. He better be okay. Yesterday, abandoned highway. Saffron finds Adam crouched down near the side of the road, using his turtleneck to soak up the blood pouring from his wound. The same one you left behind. Saffron's hands flex around the steering wheel as Adam hauls himself into the passenger seat, wishing they were circling your neck instead, taking the life you tried to steal from Adam. How dare you touch him? How dare you leave him bleeding out? You almost ruined everything. You're lucky Adam didn't die, or you'd face a fate far worse than Adam could ever give you. Slow, torturous, your body chained to his dissection table, squirming and flailing about, screaming, your vocal cords raw in a massive symphony of emotion and terror, quelled only by your following. Saffron. Saffron snaps out of his fantasy with stark clarity, startled by how visceral his own emotions are. His hands loosen around the steering wheel and he blinks in a daze. Oh, what an unusual reaction. He's never felt such undescribable hatred, and rarely does he think about using such unnecessary violence, preferring to use tools rather than his own bare hands on an individual. Perhaps seeing Adam hurt woke a parental side of him. Does he care about the band members after all? He tucks it away for later to give it proper dissection. I apologize. Could you repeat that? I'm afraid I missed what you said. Adam's jaw ticks as he wipes away the faint sheen of sweat gathering above his brow, but he's far more subdued than usual, and his words lack their usual bite. Did you bring sutures? I'm fucking bleeding out here if you hadn't noticed. Saffron tuts as he reaches into the back seat and retrieves the small white medical kit. He hands it over to Adam. Thanks. A dry response, and one that lacks genuine gratitude. Saffron can't help but smile as Adam pulls out the needle and begins sewing his skin back together. Always with the crass language, this one. But at least he gets to see the real Adam. Most people in their lives will never know the cruel being lurking beneath this model persona. Never know how many bodies that left in Adam's wake that Saffron took the liberty of cleaning up. They'll never experience such a pleasure because they'd never understand it. They call him a monster, drag him into the electric chair for their version of justice, despite the fact that Adam stands for the very same thing they do, working to eliminate the sinners posed as saints. He just doesn't mind having a little fun before snuffing out their miserable existence. And no one will ever find out. Not unless... Saffron starts the car. Not unless you reveal their secret. No. Everything will turn out fine. They shouldn't think about the worst case scenario. And besides, you're just one measly little piece of livestock who managed to escape the packaging plant. You operate the same as most. You'll slip up at some point because you're in a panic state, and those who left their feelings overwhelmed them tend to make plenty of mistakes that both he and Adam can take advantage of. There's just one thing nagging at him. Adam almost always executes his plan with flawless precision. So what did you do in order to catch him off guard? Adam won't answer outright. He's sure. It's something Saffron himself will have to piece together. Not that he doesn't mind a good puzzle from time to time. It keeps him sharp. Stop, Adam says, pausing mid-stitch to look at Saffron. I can tell what you're thinking. Just leave it alone. I have no idea what you're referring to. You know exactly what I mean. Is there a reason you're so desperate to hide it? Is there a reason you're being so annoyingly persistent about it? Saffron sighs, resigning his frustration. Getting mad at Adam won't help, and it will further him from his goal. He tries again. I understand your discomfort, but I wouldn't if it were so important someone got the upper hand on you. What if they manage to do it a second time? What if they kill you, or worse? I can't let it happen, Adam. I won't let it happen. Adam is quiet for a moment, and when Saffron's eyes skirt over to see what's causing such a long pause, he catches the other man touching his lips while wearing a slight frown on his face. Saffron notices for the first time they're swollen. It won't happen again, Adam says at last, his fingertips trailing from his lips over to the ever-present earring. It glints under the glow of the sunlight, even if God approves of whatever decision he's come to. It won't happen because I won't let it. Saffron withholds a shudder as Adam's gaze cuts over to him. Not out of fear, but in delight of a hunt that will end in a satisfying conclusion for both of them. Because if anything, Adam's just as hungry of a monster as he is. Briar's Bar and Grill earlier. Saffron trusts Adam's decision to redeem himself. From the way Adam spoke, whatever you did to him was unforgivable, and Saffron knows it's not just because you stabbed him. No, it's something much deeper, more complicated. Like you somehow shook the very foundation of his being. How you did it, Saffron doesn't know. But either way, Adam will eliminate you without mercy. Because on the off chance he doesn't, Saffron's eyes flicker towards the glove compartment box. He reaches over and pops it open, revealing a hidden revolver nestled between slips of paperwork, and traces the cylinder with great affection. His gaze returns to the bar where you disappeared into. Adam gets 10 minutes to redeem himself once we get back to the trailer park. Saffron promises himself as you exit the building in a rush. He closes the glove compartment and tightens his grip around the steering wheel. Otherwise, I go in. Ruth's trailer earlier. Adam hovers above the collapsed form of your aunt. Shards of glass lay scattered around her body like broken teeth, blood splattered across their surface in cruel arches. He nudges her limp wrist with the toe of his boot, having questioned, through all her incessant begging and pleading, how much more pathetic this woman could get. Turns out, quite a lot. I told you not to run. Now look at you. You've gone and made a mess of things. Ruth doesn't respond, not that Adam expects her to. She hit her head pretty hard on the corner of the kitchen table when she tripped over her own 2 feet in a haste to get away. He hoped to pry information out of her once he finished you off. Things only she might know. Things that could lead him to achieving his ultimate goal and the promise he made to her. But of course not, because no one in your family can listen for 5 fucking seconds. Adam sighs, scrubbing a tired hand through his hair as he takes in the miserable scene when something in your aunt's grasp catches his attention. When did she... He bends down, keeping a careful distance from your aunt in case she's hiding one of the glass shards in her free hand, waiting for an opportunity to strike that will never come, because he's all too familiar with the same tricks from his previous victims. He picks up the photograph tucked beneath her palm, the photo she kept hidden in her drawer, the one she was so desperate to protect. He takes note of the crack on the glass fissures outward, starting at the edge of the frame and slicing through Ruth's younger self, splitting her apart in a twisted sort of irony. His gaze drifts over each of the 5 women until he lands on the one with wavy brown hair, her shy laughter concealed behind her hand. He almost forgot what it sounded like. Almost forgot the warmth and vibrancy after all these years. He can hear it now. Adam swallows hard and flips the frame over, undoing the back, letting the foam board fall to the ground with a dull thump before pulling out the picture itself. He peers over the newly freed photo, sparing another glance at your aunt. His expression hardens with hatred. She looks a little more like her younger self like this, her hair loose from the scuffle, her arms spread like angel wings. But nothing about this woman is angelic. I'll be taking this, Adam says before stuffing the picture into his wallet for safekeeping. If he can't get any information out of her, he reasons he'll just try using other resources like this photo instead. Maybe even you might know something considering your connection to Ruth. Some secret she could have spilled without you realizing their significance. Don't take back. Adam catches the sound of a small, desperate whisper. He peers down at your aunt and cocks his head to the side, almost mocking. Oh, are you still alive? She doesn't say anything, but he noticed a flicker of movement from her hand. The same one he took the picture from. Huh. Stubborn and resilient. Just like you. Well, at least he can still glean answers from her and put an end to her miserable existence in the worst way possible. One he deems fit. He knows just the perfect ending for a woman like her. Adam lowers himself again, right as she makes a croaking sound, unable to distinguish what she's trying to convey. She's just garbling nonsense at this point, but he has all the time in the world, so he'll play along the same way he did with you on that highway. He enjoys toying with his food as much as the next serial killer. What's wrong? Adam asks with mock concern, his tone sugary sweet with a bitter aftertaste. What? You want your little picture back? He waves the empty frame around before tossing the empty fixture towards her. The frame lands right beside her immobile arm. Her fingers twitch in response. M's voice dips lower with malice. Do you really think you'll need that where you're going? She doesn't respond, leaving Adam to wonder if she passed out again or died on him. Adam scoffs. You know, you're really shit at holding conversation. Again, he gets nothing out of her. How disappointing. Adam's burner phone buzzes and he glances at the message sent by Saffron. They're almost here. Adam smirks and pockets his phone, his body humming with anticipation. Showtime. He says and tries heading for the door when he feels a hand dart out and wrap around his ankle. The grip is weak but persistent. Nails dig into the fabric of his jeans. Give it back. Adam pauses, staring down at her hand, evading his fucking personal space, taking in her poor attempt at stopping him with cold detachment. And if I don't, you'll what? Kill me? He reaches down and detaches her fingers one by one, focusing on uncurling them before he gives into his primal urge. He wants to wring her neck, to twist and snap her bones, watching as the life drains out of her. He wants her to suffer just as much as she did. This bitch is the entire reason he can't fucking stand liars. Adam, I don't know if you remember me. Of course he does. After all, how could he fucking forget? Okay. Adam? Screaming, so much screaming. He covers his ears, closes his eyes, and tries to escape through his mind and thoughts, but they're all twisted together like a hastily wrapped ball of yarn. There's a thump followed by a crash somewhere downstairs, probably in the kitchen. Why? Because it's always a stupid kitchen. The angry cacophony. Yeah, I'm not gonna get that word right. Of curses and shouts reverberates through the closed bathroom door where Adam hides. He didn't want to stay downstairs in his room, not when things are like this. He's afraid to get pulled into the fray. You keep making a fucking fool out of me. Another crash and the sound of glass breaking. Adam ducks his head as if the words were physical objects that are easily hurled and someone just chucked them in at his face. Stop it, just stop it. He shakes his head as tears stream down his cheeks. Please, just stop. But it keeps going and going, getting worse and worse, making him sob harder and harder to a point that he's afraid someone will overhear. He can't get caught crying again. Not after last time. He could still remember the acrid scent of the cigarette smoke and the suffocating darkness of the shed. His palms flat against the rotting floor as he waits with his head bowed. No, he's learned his lesson too many times to count. So he curls in on himself, trying to control his breathing and stifle the sounds of his anguish with his trembling hands. You look so much like your father. Adam still remembers the cruel expression on the woman's face as she said it, the muffled giggle and the concealed laughter that followed, the hand on his shoulder tightening at the comment, drawing him away from the open stairs and into one of the empty seats. I can't believe I didn't see it before. You look so much like him. He wanted to scream, to deny anything that linked them together. I'm not like him, I'm not like him, I'm not like him, I'm not. I'll never forgive you. The guttural scream makes him jump and tremble in fear. He hates this. He hates that woman for causing it. Why? Why did Miss Aspen say that? And why did it cause all of this? He can't comprehend the meaning behind any of it, and doesn't know if he ever will. He remains there for what feels like hours, arms and legs going numb from being stuck in the same position for so long, terrified of making any noise that draws attention. Then everything just stops. An uneasy quiet fills the house and Adam shivers. He wiggles his toes, trying to regain feeling and then listening out for the chaos to pick up again. It doesn't. And that's much, much worse. Feet shuffle up the staircase and Adam squeezes his eyes closed. I'm not here, I'm not here, I'm not here. The door to the bathroom slams open and Adam jerks upright as the lights flare to life. His bottom lip trembles as he looks to the door. Adam? Ruth's trailer, current time. Adam gets thrust back into the present, and the sight of the woman at his feet makes his lips curl in disgust. She repeats herself. Adam, get back. No. He's never forgotten her. Not even for a moment. He lifts Ruth by her wrist, dangling her in the air so that they're face to face, their noses almost touching while she hangs there limp. Are you really in a position to make demands? Because from where I'm standing, I think you should shut the fuck up and wait until I'm done with that nasty little relative of yours. But sure, keep testing my fucking patience. See where it gets you. Glad we see eye to eye. Adam lowers her, but keeps a hold of her wrist to keep her filthy, blood-stained hands off him. He's gonna need a blistering hot shower after this. Whereas your touch ignites a deep-seated want, hers feels like 1,000 maggots crawling over his skin, burrowing their way into his insides and eating away all of his entrails. He'll hold on to this disgust while dealing with you, because he can't let you get close again. He won't let you. Adam composes himself with light flooded through the shattered window of the small darkened trailer. He watches your car pull up, followed by Saffron's reefer truck. He must have brought it in preparation for the massacre that's about to happen. Despite this, Adam can already hear Saffron complaining about the fact you'll take up room, your body's filling up the space, and his precious fees are unwanted unless he's desperate. Saffron's a choosy fucker, an irony not lost on Adam considering the man's diet. The flower boy will live another day. For now. Adam hears the crunch of your sneakers over the gravel, followed by a knock at the door. He reaches for the abundance of chains, taking his time undoing each one to send your heart thumping and your mind racing. You can almost feel your trepidation leaking through the door. You're scared, aren't you? Click. Well, you should be. Click. Because he's been waiting. Click, click. Ruth's trailer, current time. I finally found you, my elusive little pest. Adam. Your mouth goes dry at the sight of the purple-haired demon in the flesh. How does he greet you? With a fucking knife. You try looking down at the aforementioned knife without moving your neck, otherwise you'll impale yourself like a shish kebab and notice it's covered in dried blood. Did he seriously not, at the very least, clean the thing? And who does it belong to? You or someone else? Your eyes wander over to your aunt, who lays motionless on the ground a few feet away from where you crash-landed after Adam jump-scared you. "It's yours," he says, reading your mind. "Your aunt did that with no real effort on my part." "Right." "And he also just hurt, misunderstood soul who just needs a lot of hugs and unconditional love to fix all his baggage and deep-seated issues. Because if you've learned anything, a smooch day keeps the serial killers at bay." Okay, sarcasm aside, at least the last part's a little bit true. Kissing the killer ultimately did save your life when you were neck-deep in trouble and helped you to avoid getting skewered. But even so, you're not buying his bull. The man lies as easily as he breathes. He's a repeat offender, considering none of his general audience knows he murders people for shits and giggles. Or at least that's what you assume. It's either that or for a power trip. Quite possibly both, considering how Adam's personality flip-flops between cocky and aggressive. Why else target complete strangers? You contemplate this as you try to adjust the angle of your neck in order to put some much-needed space between you and Adam's weapon of choice. Well, that, and to check if your aunt's still alive. But Adam pursues you, giving you no wiggle room to work with, and he rewards your effort by giving you a soft warning prick. "Eyes on me." You wince at the stinging sensation before fixing him with a glare. Oh yeah. You forgot about his issues with personal space, considering your bubble popped for the rest of your interactions, because you are not getting it back with him around. Your earlier fear goes up in a puff of smoke, annoyance taking over the mantle instead. I'd say go fuck yourself, but after recalling our kiss from yesterday, I doubt you know how. Adam's jaw ticks at the comment. Oh yeah, buddy. Feel the salt in the wound. "Oh, sorry. Too soon?" you say in mock embarrassment, widening your eyes to establish that you aren't sorry in the slightest, going straight for his weak point in retaliation since you went for yours. As sucky as Aunt Ruth is, you're not letting her die for your poor decisions. Adam's your burden, your cross to bear. You should have killed him when you had the chance, but you didn't. You won't make that mistake again. Not when you're armed with your own weapon tucked in the waistband of your pants. You never learn, do you? Adam says, withdrawing his blade, right before it descends on your already wounded shoulder. You screw your eyes shut and tuck your head, unable to duck out of the way with Adam boxing you in. You wait for the inevitable pain of the knife tearing through your skin and muscle, flashing back to that horrific moment on the highway when you tried to contact emergency services, your body readying itself when... thunk. Nothing comes. Just a condescending chuckle from Adam when you open your eyes to find the knife embedded into the wall right above your shoulder. His eyes glitter with amusement over your reaction. Great. So he's gone from outright stabbing to psychological torture. Exactly what you need. So much bravo, and yet still afraid of me. That's good. Adam whispers, his breath warm in your ear as he leans close. You should be. He positions his knife at the howl of your throat when he draws back, reaching into the back pocket with his free hand. I've got a few questions for you, since your dear aunt couldn't bother to answer them herself. You raise an eyebrow at him. Oh yeah? Because an unconscious woman can totally help. Forgive my aunt for her poor manners. I'm sure she's so sorry for that, despite all the trauma you put her through. You jolt upon feeling the knife move, a subtle shift that leaves you wondering if you pushed him too far when you feel the steel travel downward instead. Adam's unamused by your jeering. You're stretching his patience. But for some reason, he's not hurting or killing you. In part, you're relieved, but you're also questioning why. How many times? Adam asks, pushing aside the collar of your shirt with the tip of his knife to reveal a mess of gauze and medical tape underneath. Do I have to remind you what I'm capable of when you've already experienced it? Are you really that fucking stupid? My clients say it's part of my charm. An odd expression consumes Adam's face at the mention of your clientele, but you blink and it's gone, replaced by his usual scowl when you dare to open your mouth. He finally pulls out whatever is in his pocket, a thin slip of paper, and unfolds the parchment. He presents you with a picture of your aunt and 4 other women. Now tell me, do you recognize any other women aside from your aunt? You open your mouth, prepare to fire off another quip, but Adam flips the knife and angles it towards your jugular. You swallow hard. Adam taps the picture against the seam of your lips. I wouldn't do that if I were you, otherwise my hand might slip, so I suggest... A cocky little smirk tugs at the corner of his mouth. You choose your words wisely. Damn. You really don't have much choice but to comply. Fine then. You'll remain complacent. For now. You take your time studying the photo when something about the woman's position at the far left of the group, with her petal pink dress and delicate frame, captures your attention. While the rest of the women laugh openly, hers conveys a distinct shyness, almost as if she doesn't want the others to notice. Yet that's not what bothers you. It's the fact that you recognize her. But how? You examine each one of her features, poring over each minute detail, in order to figure out where you remember those cupid bow lips and that high cheekbones from. She's model pretty, distinguishable within a crowd, much like the rest of her friends. Birds of a feather flock together. You think and notice how her arms aren't linked with the others until the cat comes. Adam wraps a finger along the top of the photo. Tick-tock. You're running out of time. You don't even bother glancing up. Hold your knife, kink horses. I'm trying to fucking concentrate. Then hurry up. The hand containing the photo darts out and grips the back of your neck, forcing your head up to meet his gaze. The sharp press of the blade goes to the underside of your jaw. His legs are wedged between yours, one on either side, his knife pressed against the inside of your thigh, and as he kneels before you, purple tips of his hair tickling your cheek. Yeah, he's that close. His proximity makes your heart pound, and not in this oh my god, he's so dreamy sort of way, but in the oh my god, he's gonna gut you like a fish sort of way. You weigh your options, deliberating on headbutting him, but decide against it due to the sharp obstacle blocking your way. He's not underestimating you this time. Adam refused to give you any ample opportunity to take advantage of his weakness. The knife isn't just there as a threat, but a barrier. You know, I can't see the photograph at this angle, right? You've looked at it long enough. Now tell me. He lowers his head, those pitch-black eyes flashing red, his mouth stretching into a snarl. What do you know? You frown as you study the movement of his lips. Then a light clicks in your head and you start connecting the dots. The high cheekbones, the cupid's bow lips, right down to her wavy hair. Those features are a perfect match for the man right before you. You blurt out the words right before you can stop them. Holy shit, why didn't I realize it earlier? You look so much like her. Adam goes absolutely still. His pallor turns chalky white, his expression a mixed cocktail of emotion ranging from angry to haunted to tortured, all in the span of a few minutes. What did you say? He's shaking you so hard you feel yourself vibrating thanks to your close proximity. The knife disappears from your throat, and you know it's now or never because you won't find a better opening than the one presented to you. You don't know what triggered him, and you don't care. All you know is that your hands are reaching for the kitchen knife at your waist, driven by an instinct to kill him for everything that he's done to you and going to. Only one of you will walk out of here alive. You'll make sure it's you. Adam's lost in a daze when you bring your arm up in a wide arch, to which Adam dodges a moment too late, the front of his hoodie tearing in the process, blood spraying against the trailer walls. You try going for his black hole of a heart next when Adam springs away from you. In a flash, he's at your side, and the knife spears through empty air, lodging in the messy carpet floor as you bring it down. You give the knife a harsh yank before getting to your feet. The picture Adam used to interrogate you with flutters to the floor like a flag being dropped to signal the start of a match. Ding ding. Adam presses a hand to his chest before drawing away to reveal blood smeared on his palm. I hope that fucking hurt, you asshole, because there's more where that came from. You're practically spitting in his direction, geared up for a fight after all the hell he's put you through for the past 2 days, unrelenting in his pursuit. You're gonna give this fucker a taste of his own medicine. Adam's slow to look up. His eyes are narrow, but to your surprise he's smiling, teeth bared like he plans on using them to rip you apart. It's primal, that smile, like he's been waiting for this moment his entire life. Like he's been waiting for a reason to finally end this. Cute, Adam says, his voice dripping low as he gives an expert flip of his knife before catching it by the hilt with trained precision. He points the tip of the blade in your direction. But I promise I'm better. As quick as a whip, he's on you like a beast released from its cage, a snarl ripping from his throat as he tries slashing at your arm wielding the kitchen knife. You manage to pull back in time and hear the whistle of metal slicing through the air, your knife cradled against your chest as you hit the wall. Adam descends on you. You try your best to keep him at bay, but you're an amateur in comparison to his seasoned practice, a fact that becomes crystal clear within seconds. He forces you to go on the defense, while he goes full offense, his attacks jarring and harsh, forcing you to block one after another in favor of lashing out again. Each blow chips at your already dwindling strength. Your injured shoulder burns from the exertion. You can't keep up at this rate. Everything aches and pain echoes bone deep, causing your movements to be slow and clumsy. You're getting tired, worn down, but Adam is not. If anything, he's invigorated by your struggle to keep up, as if he's soaking up your fear to help fuel his bloodlust. There's a knowing smirk at the corner of his lips. Fucker. He knows you're delaying the inevitable. His endurance will outlast yours, and once you falter, he's going in for the kill like a snake constricting a mouse until its body folds. You both know he's got the advantage here. The odds are stacked against you. They were right from the beginning when you made the mistake of pulling over. There's got to be a way out of this. You grit your teeth, sweat dripping from down your brow and along the curve of your spine as you fight back, try to find an opening. You won't find one. Adam taunts, guessing your train of thought yes again. Why don't you just give in to me? We both know you won't last much longer. He sustains his point with another rough jab of his blade. Your teeth rattle from the impact, and you lose your grip on your knife, but you manage to remain firm. If anything, you're stubborn. A trait he couldn't beat out of you if he tried. Oh, come on now, you say with a huff. Now you're just making sex jokes way too easy. You gasp as his knife comes down harder than ever before in retaliation of your obvious jab, the steel pinging with his furious blows. Is that really all you fucking think about? Adam says, clearly seething. Oh, he's cranky now. A fact you take pure delight in if he didn't say what he says next. Considering how you kissed me, and after finding about that online job of yours, your entire body gets cold. How the fuck do you know about my job? You wear a mask to conceal your identity, not out of shame, but for privacy reasons. So how does he know what you do for a living? No, you guess you shouldn't be surprised. He's a stalker after all. And you don't doubt he dug into your background, probably at the same point after you gave him the slip. I have a better question. You let out a help as he managed to grab hold of your wrist while you are processing this new information. You lose your grip on the knife and Adam kicks it away, shoving your one method of defense somewhere behind him with a scuffed boot before pinning your arm over your head. You raise your other arm to fight him off, but he grabs that one just as easily. It joins the first, both now pinned underneath his grasp. You lift your legs to kick him, but he uses his body to restrain yours, your hips perfectly aligned. The knife returns to your throat and you stop struggling. Great. Back to square one. Tell me something. Adam peers down at you with a harsh sense of judgment. Why the fuck did you kiss me back then on the highway? Why was that your first instinct? Is it because of your fixation on sex? You could have fought me and gone for my eyes, punched me, anything. But shoving your tongue down my throat? So why? Why did you fucking do it? You bark out a harsh laugh devoid of humor. That's what he's focusing on? This right now of all things? But you're starting to piece everything together. You guess that accounts for something. For someone who's accused me of thinking about sex all the time, that question is pretty hypocritical. I'm starting to think it's you who's obsessed with sex, and now you're just projecting it. It would explain a lot. What? You say with mock concern as his mouth twists into a scowl. Are you frustrated because you can't stop thinking about it, thinking about me? Is that why you get upset whenever I bring the topic up? Because you want me? There goes thick, heavy with unspoken tension at your words, hanging there in between you two. You hear the pitter-patter of rain against the trailer roof. The rest of the world going quiet as if anticipating Adam's response, wondering what he'll do next. Whatever it is, you're ready. Ruth's trailer current time. Ruth's mind fractures, split apart, then gets reassembled once again before the cycle repeats. She hears a muffled argument, her ears stuffed with what feels like cotton, unable to decipher the string of conversation or figure out who the voices belong to. Glass cuts into Ruth's cheeks and arms and legs. It hurts. Everything hurts. She's disoriented, unable to remember how she got acquainted with the floor. What Ruth does remember, and the only thing that she can seem to remember, is the man taunting her with the face of the woman she once cared for. With the face of her first love. How cruel. Ruth reaches for the photo, the only picture she has of her first love, because if she's going to die, she wants to die with it by her side. That's all she can ask for. Her hands fumble over the shards of glass, but find the space beside her empty. Then another memory clicks in place. Adam taking her away. Adam shoving the picture into his pocket, mocking her feeble attempt to get it back. Adam. The hellspawn, birthed from the hips of an angel. A monster in the making, just like that bastard, the one who took what she couldn't have, telling her that her love was a sin, that it was vile, and that she wanted to prove him wrong. Wrong, and now she's gone. These men keep taking her love away from her. Adam and that bastard both. Ruth sees on the ground her fist clenching when she sees something glittering from her arm, an arm length away. Like a present, like a gift from God. Ruth reaches out. She wraps her finger around the handle of the forgotten kitchen knife. Is that why you get upset whenever I bring up the topic up? Because you want me? The words hit Adam like a freight train as soon as they pour out of your mouth, a violent clash of flesh and metal, his head spinning on the impact. What the fuck are you implying? Denial surfaces in his brain, something most people do upon confrontation, and Adam's no different. You're wrong. He doesn't want you. He'll never want you. But Adam knows he's lying to himself because of the excuses he makes just to touch you, reasoning that he's only using his body to trap you and not because he wants to get close enough to feel your body heat, to feel you. Yes, he wants you. God, he wants you. His dream self admitted as much, and the thoughts disturb him. It makes him sick having these feelings. He needs to kill you, and yet he's acting like a kitten seeking warmth for the first time. You're flush against him, your bodies without a centimeter of space between them, and all he wants to do is lift you up and... No. Adam crushes the thought without mercy. Whatever he's feeling, this blatant and unwelcome desire, he can't give in to this particular sin. He made a promise, he vowed never to give in. You're a temptation, one he's desperate to overcome. You're the hardest obstacle he's ever faced, one many would say the devil put in his path just to lead him astray. But Adam wonders if regular people are the real devils. He's almost certain you are. His own little devil meant to seduce him away from his original purpose. But he won't. He can't. You break the silence, your voice alluring as a siren's to a ship's captain. Why are you so quiet? Not even going to deny it? You raise a brow at him, and his lack of rebuttal, like you can read his thoughts and see the war raging behind his eyes. His lips curl into a snarl. Don't you do that. Don't you fucking dare look at him like that, like you've got him figured out. Adam presses the knife deeper into your skin so that it's almost cutting into your neck, and you wince despite the fact he purposely didn't break skin. One more push, though, and there'll be blood. Plenty of it. Your chest heaves against his in response to the unspoken threat. His breathing's heavier, too. He convinced himself it's because you're afraid and that he loves your fear, and that's why he's breathing so fucking hard, and not because of the friction of your chest against his. His lust for blood always outweighs his attraction towards other people. So why shouldn't it work now? Answer one question with another. How very like you. I seem to recall a certain someone whispering against my mouth, unable to restrain himself. Are you telling me that it was a different serial killer? I wouldn't be surprised considering you kissed me, a complete stranger. Nasty habit you got there, kissing dangerous men. Do you do that often? If so, maybe I should cut it out of you, starting from here. He taps your chin with the tip of his blade before guiding it down your front, shifting his body to allow the knife to glide towards the top of your navel as if he's tracing the lines on a map. To here. As your expression hardens, he smirks and realigns your bodies, returning the curve of the blade to your throat. How does that sound? I'll gut you properly so the pain will only be a little agonizing. We could take it nice and slow. You raise an eyebrow at Adam. Okay, now it just sounds like you're trying to flirt with me, and it's getting a little sad. Sorry, Adam, but you're not my type. I like men who don't stab me upon first meeting. It's called having standards. Adam's lips curl into a snarl. If that's how you see this, then you're delusional. His nails dig at your wrist, and you bite your lip to keep from crying out. He ignores away, his body throbs. How do you keep forgetting I almost killed you the last time, and I'm capable of far worse because I've done worse? Make that of what you will, but there's nothing about you that will keep you safe from me. You're deluding yourself into a narrative that you've built upon one experience. Then say it. Or better yet, go through with it. You challenge, not backing down. Because as far as I can tell, you've had plenty of opportunities to torture the answers you want out of me, and yet you haven't even cut me once. Why is that, Adam? You stabbed me as soon as you got the chance when we first met, so why aren't you doing it now? Why are there only threats and none of your previous violence? You gesture over to your aunt with your chin. You did it to her, so why not me? Come on, Adam. Tick-tock. We quote him from earlier. Adam's gaze narrows. He spoiled you too much by not following through with his threats. He'll have to change that. Are you sure you're in any position to push me? Do you think I'm not capable of hurting you anymore? That I can't kill you once I get what I want out of you? Because I beg to differ. He presses his forehead against yours, forcing you to look into his eyes to see his resolve and burning hatred for what you awoke in him. Then beg. You say with zero hesitation, lifting your chin and holding his gaze like you're his equal. Because even with this, your eyes go to gesture towards your forehead before locking onto Adam's face once more. You're just finding excuses to touch me. I know what attraction looks like, Adam. I've seen it with my clients. I've seen it in my everyday life of what happens when a man wants something, and you match the entire fucking definition. Why are you so afraid to admit it? Scared I'll use it against you just like last time? Afraid you'll like it too much? Your body shifts against him, and Adam withholds a groan, grinding his teeth to cover up the wince that follows. Too late. He sees you've already caught on. He needs to prove you wrong. That your body isn't his ultimate weakness, and that he's not someone pathetic enough to be controlled by sexual desire. He's not your client. He's not like any of them, and he'll show all of you here and now. Adam withdraws his blade, rises it over his head, and says, "Wrong move," before bringing the knife down. Outside in the van, current time. He counts down the minutes ticking by. 5, then 4, then 3. At 2, Saffron pulls out his gun and loads 3 bullets into the chamber. He glances up at the trailer he's parked in front of. 1 more minute, and he's going in. Ruth's trailer, current time. Adam knives come down, and you brace yourself for the familiar sensation of steel tearing through flesh and bone, knowing the futility of fighting, but trying anyway. You thought you had him pegged, that you had him all figured out. You thought you understood why he hesitated, but you didn't. And now you're going to pay the ultimate price. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. Chest puffed. Stay strong. You grab your old friend's phrase like a lifeline, keeping your gaze locked with Adam in one final act of defiance, willing the hatred in your eyes to haunt him for the rest of your life. It was you who couldn't escape him in life, but in death you're determined to return the favor tenfold. You curse him until the day he dies. You don't even bother to keep track of the blade as it plummets towards your chest in an act of sheer stubborn willpower, refusing to show any signs of weakness. At least, even through all this, you can take the consolidation in the fact that he never was able to break you. That you maintain some sort of dignity even in the end. You clench your fists, you jut out your chest, and you hold your head up high like you're above this, above him. Adam notices a subtle change in your demeanor. His eyes widen in surprise, as though he expected you to crack and start begging for mercy. The knife comes down and stops right above your heart. Adam's breathing is hard. His hands shake with visible frustration, unable to tear himself away from your captive gaze. He tries again. Adam raises his arm, brings the knife down, and the invisible chain that stopped him the first time around stops him yet again. Something holding him back, something giving him pause, as he fights tooth and nail to deliver on his promise. Adam's gaze flickers down to his traitorous hand, the same ones that refused to give in to his commands before returning to look at you. Adam's jaws clench, his molars grinding. You're surprised he doesn't chip a tooth in the process. Damn it. Adam hurls the knife away, the steel embedding itself perfectly into the wall, parallel from where he threw it. God damn you. God damn you. Adam's hands encircle your throat, and he slams you into the wall. You claw at his fingers, his arms, his chest. You're losing oxygen fast. Your vision turns black at the corners. Spots drip in and out of your peripheral vision like glittering stars. You could feel him shaking again, this time for an entirely different reason. You could feel how desperate he is to kill you, to escape the humiliation of his attraction towards you. He's acting like a wild animal, trapped and afraid. Tears prick at the corner of his eyes, and you witness something genuine and raw rise to the surface. Vulnerability. Why the fuck did you have to appear? Why? Are you here to torture me, to fuck with me, to break me? His voice cracks and fissures as his hands tighten and constrict, a war rampaging behind those darkened eyes. He's battling the deep-seated truth of your words. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to feel any of this. I need it to stop. I need you to stop. I'm begging you to just stop. Why couldn't you have just done it like everyone else? Why did you have to kiss me? His hands give one last squeeze, and then they're gone. You take in a much-needed lungful of air, coughing and sputtering as you collapse against the wall. You're trying to catch your breath when Adam's face grows near. What is he? The question dies in your throat as soon as you see the intent behind Adam's eyes. His lips parted as a warm breath brushes against your skin, his expression tortured as though he knows what he's about to do will ruin him. You hear a scraping sound coming from above, his nails. They're clawing their way down the wall in a last feeble attempt to restrain himself from giving in. I hate that I want you. His voice is barely above a whisper before his mouth descends on yours. Your head spins from his quick and sudden transition, and you don't even have time to shove him away, his lips almost brushing yours, but not quite. When? Give her back. Someone roars from behind Adam, and all of a sudden his body jerks forward, his back bending in the impact of an unseen blow as something slams into him. There's a sickening wet thump, followed by a gross squelching sound. Adam grunts through his teeth. Give her back, give her back, give her back, give her back. Another thump follows the first before Adam growls and sweeps his arm out, sending the person behind him, your Aunt Ruth, flying across the floor. She collides with a wall before slumping to the floor. Ruth blinks, momentarily stunned. In her hand she wields a knife drenched in crimson, the same one Adam kicked away moments before. When Adam turned his back to you, focusing all of his attention on your aunt, you spot 2 fresh wounds near Adam's shoulder blades and near identical slits. They remind you of what's left behind when a fallen angel gets stripped of their wings. Adam sways like a drunken man. He braces his hand against the wall, nails torn and bleeding from where he clawed at it earlier to keep himself from kissing you. Right. He almost kissed you. Voluntarily. Looks like your blossoming theory was right on the money. Not that it's something to celebrate. You'd rather make your milkshake not bring all the serial killers to the yard. Okay, that's a great one. Least of all, Adam. You shake your head to clear your mind. Nope, nope, nope. Maybe someday you can unpack this shit in therapy when you can, afford it, to figure out why your milkshake brings all the serial killers to the yard. But for right now, you've got bigger fish to fry. Namely, the aforementioned serial killer who looks like he's about ready to pounce on your Aunt Ruth and strangle her to death. Or worse. I should have killed you when I had the fucking chance. Adam rasps, suddenly towards her with uneven steps. Your aunt gets to her feet, grasping onto the serial counter. Sorry, guys. That was... Let's try that again. Your aunt gets to her feet, grasping onto the counter for support, and you freeze upon seeing the unabashed rage pulsating off her in thick waves. She directs everything she has at Adam, all of her ugliest emotions laid bare. You've never related to her more. Ruth's lips peeled back into a snarl, her lips stained red as though she applied too much makeup, as the storm rampaging behind her eyes overshadowing the monsoon going on outside. She looks unstable, insane, broken. She spits her vitriol at Adam, her words containing a venom that poisons each syllable. I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you for everything you've done, you sick, twisted little bastard. How dare you? How dare you wear her face and do this to me? How dare you taunt me this way? How dare you? Tears fall from her hardened eyes, but she scrubs them away with a rough jerk of her wrist. I'll end this. I'll end you. Adam staggers again, but he gives a low chuckle, devoid of humor, as he rips his knife from where it juts out of the wall. His own hatred rivals your aunt's. Funny, he says, using the sleeve of his hoodie to wipe your crusted blood off his knife in one quick swipe. Because a long time ago, you told me I looked just like him. Was that another of your fucking lies, or did you know what would happen when you said something like that? Ruth bows her head. Well, did you? Come on, Miss Aspen, tell the truth for once in your fucking miserable life. Fault? Adam tilts his head at that animalistic way of his, a hunter listening for prey out in the long stalks of grass. What was that? Speak the fuck up, I can't hear. It's your fault she's gone. Your aunt screams in a raw outburst of emotion, glass shards digging into her heels as she gives an angry stomp of her foot. You recoil at the sheer volume. What's going on? They're almost acting like they know each other from somewhere, like they have some sort of shared past together. This isn't just about Adam breaking into her trailer and attacking her, but rather another matter entirely, something that caused your aunt to dive into the depths of madness and come out swinging. It's like they have an unresolved grudge from before you ever entered the picture. Wait, the picture Adam showed you before. Ruth and that woman that looked like Adam were both in it. Did something happen between them? Your mind swirls with the possibility of what this all means as Ruth continues. You're the reason she endured everything she did. It was all for you, and yet you killed her. Your existence destroyed her. I told her, Ruth says between frantic gasps and nearly sobbing. I told her she should have gone through with the pregnancy, but she wouldn't listen. Ruth clenches at her chest as if preparing herself to tear out her own heart in order to spare herself from the painful burden of the memory she's uprooting. Adam remains quiet, but his knuckles turn white as he's gripping the hilt of his knife so hard. Whatever she's saying, it's affecting him too. What he did to her, to know that all started because of you, don't you? But she never told you that because she wouldn't want you to blame yourself, but you should have. You watch with mounting horror as Ruth's feet leave behind bloody tracks as she steps over the glass, daring to get closer to Adam. He remains eerily silent as she gets in his face and jabs at his chest. And now she's gone because of you. You took her away. You took her away, you goddamn piece of shit. You took her away again. She's breathing hard as she reaches the end of her crazy rant. Adam's absolutely still. For a moment, no one moves. You're not even sure any of you are breathing. Then there's a lightning strike and the room becomes illuminated in a yellowish glow that shows Adam lifting his head. And all hell breaks loose. Adam's on your aunt in an instant because even while he's wounded, he's fast. He grabs her fingers and you hear a sickening crack of bone breaking like a twig being snapped in two. Your aunt screams and fails, her knife managing to cut into Adam's cheek, but he remains unperturbed and instead disarms her by severing the tendons in her fingers. She loses her grip on the knife and Adam's other arm darts out to wrap around her throat. Then he's lifting her into the air, a cold-blooded killer once more. Her legs flail and kick, her fists thumping against his arms as her feet leave the ground. You scream your aunt's name and search for something to stop him. You won't let him kill her. You need to act. Now. Well, let's try killing him. You duck forward and grab the knife because you're not a fucking coward. Your hands wrap around the base of the handle. Adam's too busy with Ruth to notice a big mistake on his part. He'll pay for his hubris in the worst possible way. He's forgotten how much of a threat you really are because once you commit to something, you're committed and you're determined to put this monstrosity of a man 6 feet under. You're going to save your aunt and get the fuck out of here, no matter the cost. You lift the knife and thrust it into Adam's lower back, driving him forward with the force of your body slamming into him. Adam makes a choking sound as you do. Aunt Ruth's neck gives a sickening crack and Adam drops her. Well, she falls to the ground like in a crumpled heap, like a blanket lying forgotten next to the bed during the hustle and bustle, someone running late for work. Her neck is bent at an awkward angle. Her eyes are open, but devoid of life. No. In your urgency, you foolishly believed you could protect Ruth from Adam, that you could make up for the mistake of bringing him here. But you couldn't. And now she's dead. You let out a blood-curdling scream, in part because you feel at fault, while also going mad with rage, causing you to literally see red as you thrust your knife in and out of Adam's body. His blood splashes across your cheeks, dappling your arms and coating your clothes. All of the things he's done to you, stalking you, stabbing you, mocking you, holding your aunt hostage, cultivate into this sense of righteousness as you bring down the knife again and again. You fall on top of him as he collapses, your legs going on either side of him, pinning him down. He reaches out a shaky arm. You sink the knife's teeth into it because he's not getting away from you. No matter what, you're going to kill the sucker, even if it's the last thing you do. You resolve far superior to when he gave you up the chance to end your life. Your free hand rakes down his back, your nails chewing at his skin of his arms, your nails sinking deep into the muscle. You feel raw, vindictive after all the turmoil he put you through. You've made a righteous decision, putting an end to such a dangerous man's life. This is his fault. He should have left you alone. But he didn't, and now he's paying the ultimate price. Tears stream down your face as you plunge the knife into his spine one last time before you withdraw, your hands shaking from both the rush of adrenaline and a sense of looming dread at what you've done. You took a human life. You went above and beyond self-defense, aiming to draw out his agony other than quickly putting an end to his reign of terror. But it's over, isn't it? He's dead, right? Adam. You say his name tentatively, almost like you expect him to get up and dust himself off and ask if that's really the best you can do before finishing what he started. You get up, clutching the knife to your chest, searching for signs of life. There are none. Just like Ruth, his eyes are open, but there's no longer a soul behind them. Well, if Adam even possessed a soul to begin with, which you doubt. You try one more time. Adam. Again, he's silent, and blood trickles from the corner of his mouth. He's gone. He's really gone. There's no longer a threat to you or anyone else. It's over. It's over. You're half crying, half laughing now, your breath coming out in ragged gasps before transitioning into a barrage of hiccups because you're so overwhelmed. You bury your face in your hands. You're smiling. Finally, you've been released from this nightmare. You're safe now. Or so you think. You don't hear the front door open when a harsh voice makes you jump. Adam? Got a little more frantic, the eggs fraying with disbelief. Adam. You look up to see Saffron leaning against the doorway for support, a hand pressed to his mouth, his brows upturned and drawn together as he processes the devastation seen before you. He's staring at Adam, searching for signs of life, but coming up empty. He looks like a parent who just lost his child. Like Adam's death just turned Saffron's entire world upside down. He looks vulnerable as Adam did before he kissed you. A weakness exposed to its fullest extent. Saffron's voice cracks. What did you do? He's shaking his head, and he goes to Adam's side, turning the man over. He cups Adam's face like he can bring him back to life by the willpower alone. Don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me. You take this opportunity to make your break for it while the serial killer number 2 grieves over his loss. But right as you reach the door, a hand clamps around your wrist, dragging you kicking and screaming back into the trailer, shutting the door behind you, sealing you inside away from prying eyes. No one can hear your wrenching cries over the rampaging storm. The only sign of the torture you endure is your blood leaking out from beneath the door sill, washing away the drop of rain. Okay, so we got bad ending 5 this time. An eye for an eye. And I'm done. Sorry, guys. That's a lot, and I'm calling it on this one. If you want to see any of the other endings, you're welcome to. I will leave the link to the game down in the description. But, yeah, I'm not sure there is a good ending on this thing. Maybe if I distracted him, but I'm not even sure how you would get a good ending. I mean, maybe the only thing you could do is stay alive. I mean, there's no, like, way she's gonna give in and, like, go with the guy. So, yeah, I'm just gonna call it here. And, I will see you on the next one. I hope you enjoy this. Later. Bye.